Appropriate. Hi, everybody.
We would never say anything inappropriate, Liz.
Really?
Uh-huh. Hello, everyone. We are still getting set up for the show. Dana's having a little bit of audio, sort of issues.
Steffi just got home, needs to let the dogs out, and will be with us shortly.
Excellent. Okay, that gives me some time to set up the
And Captain Nick
software.
is offline over there in the UK thanks to Storm Eunice. He has no power at the moment. Has not had since this morning and may not till tomorrow.
That's his excuse anyway.
That's what he's telling us. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I need to get rid of these markers.
Can you hear me now? Check 1, 2.
Yep. Can you hear us?
Yes, actually, I pulled my other adapter I have. I changed that out too. I pulled it halfway out, and now I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, excellent.
Good.
So I will leave it alone.
Good work.
All right. Very good.
I will.
Don't touch it. Don't touch that.
Don't touch it.
I won't touch it.
Boom,
Hands
boom.
are off, I promise.
Bound
Hi.
Bound. So say hello, Dana, to everyone in the live
Hi,
audience.
guys. How are you? Long time no see, no speak.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom. Yeah,
Boom,
hey.
Boom, boom.
Smiley, smiley. Surprise,
Hello,
surprise.
Tanya and Henningite.
Now, I will apologize a little bit ahead of time. My dog, we now have a dog, is being a little crapper.
Well, we never have issues with dogs on this show.
Never. No cats, no dogs, no garage door openers.
Well, I mean, I think I'm the only one on the crew that does not have a dog. Not sure about Nick Camacho, if he has a dog.
I just sent you a text, Jeff.
Okay. Okay, Liz, I'm going to look at the text.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Don't.
Okay.
Oh, there's Deanna. I haven't seen you for a while. That's great. Mark, I'm going to give you the link to the YouTube.
Hey, Mark Bates, do you feel kind of lonely over there on Facebook? Because you should. Come on and join us over here on the YouTubes.
Hi, Tony Smith.
So, Dana, I guess you're just going to have to go along with the flow and listen to the way we're presenting the news and stuff, because I don't think... Do you still see the news and feedback and stuff?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. So, just kind of go with the flow.
I will actually listen to you for a change.
Oh, that's
boy.
good.
That's scary.
That is scary. Hey.
Who did that? I didn't do that.
I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it.
Don't touch
I
that.
didn't do it either. That's odd.
Well, it's like, I think I told you, this has happened to me 3 times now. I've been sound asleep at night, and all of a sudden the TV in my bedroom turns on. I don't know whether it's somebody else's remote. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of gets your attention.
Big Jet TV, Tony. A lot of people were watching that.
Yeah, a little windy over there.
Yeah,
So-
Captain Al.
Oh, it's nice to be here.
Let's see.
Thirsty.
I just got a very nice text from none other than Micah. He says it's nice to see me.
Well, where is he?
Who?
I don't see. Oh, there he is. He just joined the chat. He snuck in there.
Micah.
Hi, Micah.
Micah who? Who's that?
He'll be critiquing our audio at any moment.
Yes, he'll let us know how our levels are doing.
Well, the one friend and fan I have out there for sure. I miss you, Micah. I wish I was up in Portland. We actually starting to fly there a little more at Acme.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, on my airplane.
Cool.
So if they would just put it with a trip that's decent, then I would probably bid it.
Do you fly to Boston, Dana?
Actually, next month I'll be there 6 times.
Oh, cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, there's Mr. Towler. Hi in New Zealand.
Hey, Glenn. Good to see you, buddy.
I haul boxes. Always good with the quips. We love having him in the chat room. Yeah, Rick
And we are
is,
waiting for Steph to take the dogs. Oh, I think you already mentioned that. Steph's
and
going
Rick
to
is on a
take out the
personal
dogs.
matter today, unfortunately. Was planning to join us, but had to.
Yes. Yes, he is at a serious event with a family member.
Do you guys... I'm sorry.
And Nick
Okay.
and Nick is in the dark, as usual.
Yeah.
And Nick Camacho is out in California on business, I believe.
Yeah,
He's on the road.
He's either in California or Houston, Texas. One of
Right.
those places.
Oh, no, wasn't he going to Phoenix too at some point? Remember, he was going to
Maybe.
check out the RV parking at Rick's for you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Nick C. Nick C is actually on the road, so he's not.
Did he say he's getting a beer?
I believe so.
Oh,
That's your
maybe I just need to go partake
go.
in a little
Go get a beer. Come on.
You got to lubricate those,
consoles.
yeah.
Okay.
What are these things called again? Voice
Voice boxes, tonsils,
boxes?
voice boxes, throat.
Lubricate the throat,
All right.
so to speak.
I'm drinking iced tea.
Yeah, go ahead, Dana. We got time.
All right.
That's
I will
what-
be
that's what I'm
right
telling-
back. I will
Yes, that's
right
what I'm
back.
telling you. It is.
As long as I have Liz's permission, that's really all that matters.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. She's the producer.
But the-
Yes.
He's asking you now, Jeff, in the chat
Can
room.
you turn up your mic volume a little bit? Yes, I
No.
can.
Nope, the comment prior to that.
Oh. Oh, yes. Okay, now I'm making the connection. Hello there, sir. Yes, the my Porter supplier up in Massachusetts, right?
Framingham, I believe.
Framingham. And that these aren't the Bose headset. The Bose headset that I wear in my flying life is made, I think it's in Framingham.
Yeah.
I think that's where
Glenn,
Bose
his
is.
Nick's power's been out for hours, and they notice he got was it might not be on all day tomorrow. Apparently, there's massive power outages around southern England there.
Okay, I'm going to bump up my mic volume a little bit for Micah. So let me see. Let me get to the proper... There are a couple different ways to do it.
Wow, you sound loud to me. Well, okay, I'll
I
turn
know.
myself down here.
Hello, hello. Testing. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
John Ellis, I'm going to send you the YouTube link there.
Hello, hello. Test, test, test. How's that, Micah? Is that okay? Is that okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, there's
Test,
there's
test.
Hillel in Israel, or is he in your bathroom?
Oh my! Wait, hang on. Hello, what are you doing? Are you going to be back in time for the
Yeah.
Slack?
Yeah, he's going to be beamed up by Scotty.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can rig up a microphone in Israel for him
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
We'll cover it. We have 3 hours.
Can he do it in Hebrew?
No.
No, he doesn't, Tim Benram. He was using his hotspot to communicate with us, but that wasn't going to cut it for being on the show, sadly. Luckily, he has a gas fireplace and a gas cooker, so he's okay.
What's the temperature over there for? Oh, look at that. Look
There's
who's
Steffi!
with us. She can't hear us.
Or Audio Hijack's updating.
I'm hearing something weird from Steph.
Yeah, some sort of buzzing or
It's like a internet. It's almost like dial-up sound. We'll give Steph time to figure out why she can't hear us.
Say hi, Aria. Nobody in the group has ever met Aria before.
Oh, look at her.
How do you spell that?
Aria.
Area. Oh, yeah.
Aria, like
like an opera. Yeah.
Opera, yeah. Like a
Oh,
little
she's
lioness.
cute. Come
She's
here,
a
Poppy.
sweetheart,
Poppy,
huh?
come here. Come here.
Sweet. Yeah. What I was going to say what brand?
She
What
poodle?
breed? What brand is that?
Poodle.
Yeah. You had a poodle before, right?
Ah, very
Yep.
pretty.
She's
Yeah.
a little different than the last one, but they all have different personalities, as you know, Liz.
Absolutely. Mine's a little black dog too now.
She's
See,
not.
Steph
Yes,
is
I
showing
saw
me
her.
something.
She is not. She's not camera shy. Hi,
How old is she?
hi.
How old is she, Dana?
We actually think she's about 3.5 years old. She's a
Oh, wow.
rescue,
Okay, cool.
and she's been the sweetest little thing in the world.
Hmm.
But she's mad at her daddy right now.
Uh-oh.
I just came back from seeing my tax man and rushing back, and I didn't get a chance to sit down on the floor and play ball with her. So
It's
cheers.
3 degrees Celsius in Liss at the moment, Jeff.
Oh, okay. That's not too cold.
It's staying above freezing overnight. But
That's good. So Steph is getting a message from her computer. Page unresponsive.
oh boy.
That
She
sounds like a
rebooting?
computer issue. You need to reboot the computer.
Reboot.
Yeah. I see her in the video thumbnail.
There she
Oh.
is. No?
Yeah. And I hear like
Yep.
electronic feedback.
Yes.
Do you hear us?
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, it's like power. Yeah, that's.
She ate my boss's
I-
flowers real quick.
I heard you
No.
for a minute. Oh, that was you, Liz. I thought it was Steph.
Yeah. No, I'll
You don't-
I'll
you
mute
don't hear us?
myself.
Yeah, we never heard this at all from Steph.
I think it's the revenge of audio hijack.
But she's not using audio hijack.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
see what you're
kidding.
saying. For the recording, yeah, maybe.
Sounds like a loose headset connection. Could be.
But it's affecting both.
Sounds like a USB connection going in and out, says Micah.
Could be.
I think
No,
she's
it's-
wired.
it's-
I think she's wired.
It's wired. It's a wired Motu M2
sort of like what
interface.
Dana and I are using.
Yeah. So everything's wired. Nothing wireless.
We're all wired here. We're all wired.
Yeah, we're all wired.
And currently,
only-
my dog is very wired right now. She's telling me the whole story over here. Hear this?
Yeah, here.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, we do nothing but pro audio here at APG. Whoever's questioning our setups.
Yeah.
But the M2 is connected via USB, so maybe
Jeff is very into audio quality. It is
Yes.
one of the
Disconnect-
hallmarks of his podcast.
yeah, definitely not the content.
Well, the content is this.
It is what it is. 50%, right? Aaron's got it.
Right. Okay.
What is a pod mic? I don't know what a pod mic is.
I don't know.
Any ideas?
Just doesn't like pod. Doesn't like the word pod. Page unresponsive. You can wait for it to become responsive or exit the page. It's a StreamYard message. That's weird. Can she get another code from you and try like signing in? Like maybe something's gone amiss or something. I don't know.
Well, she'd have to clear the cache on her browser. Oh, podcasting. Ah, okay. I recognize that word. What's his real name again, Liz? I'm trying to find
Jeremy,
her.
isn't it? Jeremy,
Jeremy.
I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jeremy. So Jeremy,
Yeah, Jeremy.
I do not like the word pod unless you're talking about engine pods
Or pea pods.
or pea pods or bean pods. But when it comes to podcasting, no.
John Abrams, only 150 episodes of APG, and then I'm all caught up.
All right.
You're getting there.
Why the F?
Oh, Hillel's saying page unresponsive is usually a network issue.
It's a network issue. Let's see. Maybe you're running into. What time is it over there in Israel?
+7, I think.
Maybe
Isn't it +7 from
reset
Eastern
the
time?
router.
like 11, coming up to midnight, I think?
Is it? Do you recall, Liz, if he's over there for business or?
Yeah,
Well, I guess I
business.
can ask him.
Yep, it is from business. Yep.
Okay. I hope that's going well, Hillel. What does it say?
Yeah, it's just coming up to midnight in Israel.
Browser and network can't get other pages to load correctly either. Okay, yeah. Definitely a network connection issue.
You know what? Somebody somewhere doesn't want the crew, apart from Dana, to be with us today.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should just forget it.
No. You and Dana can carry the torch. Rotor
Let's see.
reboot, says Glenn.
Yes, Glenn, I did suggest that to her in our private communique. That's like a partay.
An online partay.
Before I would think of communique as not a unusual word, but now I associate it with partay.
Oh,
Work
weird.
plus good food. Yeah, I saw some of that, Hillel. That looked awesome. Okay, so she is going to reset the router, your choice. We would say router. What would you say, Liz? Router?
Router.
Okay. So you side
Don't
with
you
the
have
British.
a plumbing? Don't you have a plumbing company? We
Yeah,
have a
but
plumbing company
you know what
called
it's-
Roto Rooter.
Yeah, you know how that's spelled?
Rooter. I know. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, I know.
But Router.
Yes.
There's a
See,
different spelling.
you would say for a highway like Route 111. We would say Route
Yeah.
111.
And you know what? I think I'd say either of them, route. But when it comes to the route, the intranet
Yeah.
box, or
Right.
actually the distribution of Wi-Fi signals, we call it a router.
Rotor.
Most
Okay, how
people
do you
over here do.
pronounce the name for your father's sister? That's my.
I
what?
say aunt, like a.
So do I
like the
say
little
aunt.
Tiny, yeah,
But people
not
say
aunt.
aunt.
Aunt. But I understand that because it's spelled A-U-N-T,
I know.
not A-N-T.
I know. I've always
But,
said aunt.
Yeah, I just learned up pronouncing it aunt. I mean aunt. Now
Yeah.
I'm so confused. I don't know what the internet box. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, avoid that.
Right,
Route-
Tim Van Ram. They don't say Route 66.
They
Get
say
your kicks
Route
on Route
66.
66. Right
Yep.
on.
I mean,
Have
that's
you-
the way I think I say it. Route 76. Route.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever been on Route 66?
I've been on parts of it.
Yeah,
I have
I've
as
been in
well.
parts of it, yeah.
Have you ever had a root beer?
Is it still intact? Like, can you drive it end to end? Is there still a Route 66 to be drivable?
I think
No.
that there are some
No.
places where it becomes part of the interstate system, and then it becomes a right. Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
That is correct.
Oh, that's right. You drove a lot of that on the motorcycle, right?
I sure did. I
Route.
can't believe it's over 3 years ago already.
Route
4 years this
I can't
summer.
either. A root can. I thought that was a ROOT.
It
canal,
is.
like your
it is. It's the roots of
Hillel.
your teeth.
Stop
Have
confusing
you been taking
us.
that Ambien again?
Oh, Flying Car 100. I pronounce route differently depending on the number. Okay. That depends on my mood.
Right, Laura. Yeah, she's saying it's in pieces and dead ends in some places. Just kind of sad.
But I intend to make that one of my RV adventures.
One of your trips? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're good at getting into dead ends.
Yes. Here is an example of it right here.
Yeah, exactly. We're all part of it.
You're all part of my dead end.
Exactly. This is where you've ended up after all
Oh, wait a
these
minute.
years.
Here's another dead end. Sorry.
Jeff.
I mean, it might be. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Don't touch that.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, what? I can't touch that?
It's not dead, and you're not at the end. Oh,
Yeah,
and
we'll see.
Then again, how do I know this? I mean, I
I don't
know
know.
this.
How do you know that?
No, I don't know.
Who have you been talking to? Spies.
It's been spies like
Well,
that.
Stephanie, where is that girl?
That girl.
Yeah,
Remember that show?
I know.
Marlo Thomas?
Marlo Thomas. Wasn't she gorgeous in that show? I thought. And she had that sort of neat hoarse voice. Like, she had sort of a... Anyway.
Oh, I sent you a link. Thank you. Oh,
Heading night. I don't
Jeremy.
recognize.
just call him
That's
Jeremy. It's easier to say.
Jeremy.
Easy. Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy, I'll be in Boston 3 times next month. Come visit me.
There she is.
Hi.
Oh,
Hey.
can you hear us? We can
Yeah,
hear you.
finally. Does it sound better?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, well, hang
everything's
on.
good.
Wait, I hear some.
No, you're hearing
Birds.
Poppy chewing or something.
Okay.
There's also, like, I have the window open because it's super nice and I needed fresh
Okay.
air in this house.
Okay, don't touch anything, Steph.
What's the temperature there?
65?
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's sunny.
It's like
It's
only
beautiful.
57 up here in the mountains.
No, I actually need to take this vest off because it's...
Mountain.
Yeah, horse voice
Other
like
mountains.
Mr. Ed.
Like,
Yeah.
Did you actually... Mr. Ed's a different generation for you, Laura.
No, I've watched a lot of Mr. Ed.
Did you? Yeah.
I am Mr.
A
Ed.
horse is a horse, of course.
Oh, horses,
of
of
course.
course. Of
Of
course,
course,
of course.
It's not off.
Horse, of course.
Hey,
Wilbur.
Dr.
Wilbur.
Seth, it's not,
Oh,
it's not
Wilbur.
often I get to see 2 backstabbing doctors in one day.
You saw a backstabbing doctor today?
Oh, I sure did. And I was thinking about you the whole time.
Did
when
you
I was
get
screaming?
Did you get stabbed?
I sure did.
Oh, wow.
They stab you good?
I hope so.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Dan. How are you
Not on today's show, I haul. We were filled up, but it's in the hopper. It's in the hopper.
Hey guys, I'm reading all the messages back here. Good to see everybody. It's an absolute pleasure, and thanks
doing?
for
Start Evernote.
saying hello to me.
Fingers crossed that works.
Yeah, that's with Nicole Kidman,
Excellent.
right, Jeremy? Yeah, I've heard it's fantastic.
Oh, it was really good being the Ricardos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't hear you,
enjoyed
Dana,
it.
by the way, if you're wondering if we're ignoring you.
All right, we ready to go now? Let's go.
Back to APG. I'm not. I'm not used to it.
Out of practice. Rusty. Well,
You just got to be.
that's
you
all
can't be
right. Some things
bashful
never
here.
change.
Just
I mean,
start
I
talking.
showed up at my house and none of my technology
know.
works. So, that's lovely.
know.
I don't even really know what the problem
Francis
was.
the talking mule. Yeah.
Router.
You know what I'm really amazed at is that I actually got this all set up and got going and had relatively one minor hiccup, and I even figured that out. That's what's amazing.
Excellent.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got. Now you
Come
can
on,
actually
Jeff,
hear
give
us.
him a ding.
Ding.
It's a ding.
Oh.
Where's the...
Here
Here you go.
hang on.
Wait.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
That's
Okay, here we
the
go.
best I can do for you.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay.
Too funny.
That made me laugh, and a little snot came out of my nose.
It's better than something
Jeff
else.
has to share. Thank you so much for sharing.
I am very transparent.
Very.
Sharing
If
is
it's
caring.
not transparent,
Sharing is
that's
caring.
good. As long as it's not green.
Oh wait. Yes, it's transparent. That's good.
Good.
All right.
What?
All right.
So I think we're gonna just check these sound levels a little bit here. Current show. So here's Radio Roger.
The Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
Actually, that's not Radio Roger, but
No.
he'll be talking soon.
New York City!
Okay, and then
That's the intro to the intro.
I think that might be a little bit too loud. Let me adjust that.
Is my mic too low?
Sounds good to
Um,
me, but
Yeah. I don't know. It always
Yeah,
sounds
can you
fine.
bump it up a little bit?
bump it up.
Nope.
Okay. How about in the browser
Nope.
settings? No?
I don't
Yes.
think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Nicholas.
You know
How
what,
about that?
Steph? I can do it.
Better?
I think.
I got it.
Yeah,
I can make it
I think so.
even. That's as high as it goes.
Okay, that's good.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah. Let me check over here, make sure we're getting signal from everybody. Liz, do a quick clean feed check, please.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have
One
to go.
moment.
You don't have to leave the other. Just wanted to see if we got signal from you on that channel. Yep, got it. Yep. All right, and where are we going here, Jeff? Where are we going?
Everybody recording? Got recorders on?
No.
I would take that as a no then. It looks like you're on your own there,
It's a
Jeff.
negative
for
response.
recording.
Okay.
think
It should work.
I am recording.
I think
Okay.
mine got corrupted and I had to take it off my.
Yeah, you know what? Don't
we
worry
don't
about
want you
it. guys,
corrupted.
we're getting
I-
good signal from everybody, so that's good.
I'm plugged in. I'm hard plugged in, so we should be good.
Okay. All right. That's what she said. And sorry. Let me make sure we haven't played this in a while. Make sure it's a good volume. Good.
Yeah.
Little low,
low.
maybe. Little low.
Oh, low.
I think.
Really?
Whoa.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, let's crank it up then.
Yeah, that's good. Better.
Interesting, because it sounds kind of loud in mine. Okay, whatever it sounds to you is best. Okay, and then
Place to grow, place to grow, area.
we are. Oh, that even got somebody barking.
It did.
They love
Like
that.
to say it was the excitement of the Ontario song, but it was
But
probably,
they probably couldn't
deer.
hear the.
Yeah, they can't
Yeah,
hear that.
exactly. Nothing.
I mean, their hearing's pretty good, but not maybe that
Not
good.
that good though.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Let me get to the script, and if we're all ready, let's go ahead and give this a shot.
Okay.
Oh,
Do it.
I shouldn't say that around Steph.
You're
Well, or
listening to
Dana.
the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
Yeah.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 510.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Lake Burton, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on the 18th of February, 2022.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Get your light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, 2 Ethiopian Airlines workers hide above the passenger cabin to seek asylum in the U.S. Pilots take to radio to help a student pilot land with a throttle stuck at full power. More news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger. Flight 510 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast featuring and covering the latest in aviation news and answering your feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a pilot at a major legacy airline based in Atlanta, GA, and joining us today from her lakeside studio in South Dr. Skydiver, Marathon Runner, Strength Training Junkie, IPA Connoisseur, and Commercial Multi-Engine Instrument Rated Backstabbing Jumper Dumper, Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. Hey, everybody else. And we'll get to you guys in a second. Introduce you, I'm sure. But it's so good to see you guys. I'm really happy to be here today. Looking forward to a great show. So,
We're
missed
happy
you.
you're with
Missed you the
us
last.
as well.
I don't know when the last time I saw you was.
It's been a while, but
Has
we're
been a while.
glad you are back and look forward
You were
to hearing...
conferencing.
That's right.
Yeah, you're conferencing for sure. All right, also joining us from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, director, it's Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here on a snowy day here in Toronto.
How many inches, Liz? Okay.
Not 16.
What is this music I hear? From his stately southern mansion in Smyrna, Georgia, barbecue master, bourbon, scotch, vodka connoisseur, motorcycle riding yacht skipper, and pilot for a major U.S. legacy carrier is Captain Dana.
Surprise! Glad to be here, guys. And you might have to add one more to the list. This purple gin.
Oh, purple gin. Wow.
Purple
That's,
gin.
That's fancy.
your list is going to be almost as long as Steph's if we do that.
I'm only kidding. Hey, it's great to be back. Thank you for the invite, and I look forward to helping you guys catch up on me. See how things are
Awesome.
going. See how things are progressing in the world of aviation.
All right, we're going to get to that. But first, let's talk about aviation news.
Stand by for news.
Thank you, Paul Harvey. All right, the first item in our news notebook. Ethiopian Airlines employees hid in roof space of passenger plane and daring escape to the United States. So let's look at this, and we have this pretty picture of, well, here, let me read this. 2 Ethiopian Airlines maintenance technicians hid in a ceiling void above the passenger cabin of a commercial plane in order to flee Ethiopia and claim asylum in the United States. A spokesperson for the U.S. Customs and Border Protection has confirmed. The 2 men claimed asylum on December 1st after clambering into the tiny void space in the ceiling of a Boeing 777 passenger jet.
Not a Boeing 777.
That's definitely not a
Jet.
Boeing 777.
Is not. And you know what's even more disappointing? The source, they
no.
are sharpless. This is from an aviation blog, Paddle Your Own Canoe. And you'd think that this international flight attendant that is the blogger here would know the difference. But apparently not. This is a much prettier picture, apparently.
Well, the A350 is pretty too, but
It is
so
a
the
pretty
triple-
jet.
So is the 777.
Yeah, I like the 777. Anyway, let's see. So let me start this sentence again. They were in that tiny void space in the ceiling of a Boeing 777 after surviving a 36-hour journey from Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa?
Addis Ababa? Yeah.
Pretty good?
Something,
All right.
something
we're gonna
along
go
those
with that.
lines.
We're missing
Yeah.
Nick on that one. He'd know how to say that one.
Yeah, we'll just call it
Addis
double A.
Addis
Double
Ababa.
A. Okay. Is it? Okay.
I think
the
so.
plane ended up in Washington, D.C., but went via Lagos, Nigeria, and Dublin, Ireland, before eventually ending up in the United States. An airline source who spoke with CNN said an investigation concluded that the men had accessed the void space via a maintenance access panel within the flight attendant rest compartment, which is fitted to some 777 aircraft. On arrival in Washington, D.C., the men climbed out of the hiding space. Wonder why they didn't clamber out. Climbed out of their hiding space and surrendered to CBP officers. A spokesman for CBP said the men possessed Ethiopian Airlines employee identification cards and that they stowed away with the intent of claiming asylum in the United States. The 2 Ethiopian males are presently housed at a federal detention facility pending a hearing before an immigration judge. CBP issued a civil penalty to Ethiopian Airlines for the security breach and were briefed on measures the airline is undertaking to enhance the airline's aircraft security plan. So and then it goes and talks about this is not the first time, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, that's a kind of a long journey in void space of a 777, but at least they didn't hole up in the landing gear
Yeah.
well.
I feel like that's safer.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you got a first class meal down there.
I don't know.
And where
I
to
guess
go to the
maybe if,
bathroom?
yeah, like the flight attendant maybe had a nice meal and then they left the,
They kind of just like passed it through the
Pass it
vent
through
or
there
something.
for him. Yeah, sure. Even worse is where do you go to the bathroom down there for that long of a
yeah,
journey?
I'm wondering what they did about that.
Ooh. Ooh.
Hold it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got to hold it for 36 hours.
I mean, hey, yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures.
That's right. All right. Well, welcome to the United States. That's what I got. Yeah, welcome to America. All right. I don't know really what else to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations that you know, your hearts go out to the people who are seeking asylum, but they're often in a very difficult predicament, which is beyond the scope of our show, but interesting when aircraft are involved trying to transport people from point A to point
You
B.
know, there
kind
was
of covertly.
there was something that I should have added here. The 2 maintenance technicians were and I'm not sure how you pronounce this. Tigrean heritage.
Here,
Tigrean in the Tigray region.
Sure.
I'm not sure, in northern Ethiopia.
Tigray.
The Ethiopian government has been involved in a fierce conflict with these Tigrayan separatists, and the national flag carrier has been accused of helping to transport military arms and personnel. Ethiopian Airlines strenuously denies the allegations. The airline has been accused of discriminating against employees with Tigray heritage, but Ethiopian says it strongly. Okay, so that's, I guess, the reason they were seeking the asylum.
Yeah, I mean, so people don't just get up and seek asylum for no good reason, usually. And I'm not familiar enough with this particular conflict to know all the ins and outs of it. But yeah, like I said, it's something where I can't imagine myself being in that situation, because that's not something that we experience here in the United States, fortunately.
Yeah, but you did live in Utah.
I did. Definitely a minority there. So,
I don't know
speaking
what
of
that
Utah,
means.
Utah's calling me right now, and I will be back in just a moment.
Okay.
All right.
We'll let you go.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad, because that's not just a situation of trying to escape something, but that's just desperate measures. I mean, to think of somebody crawling into an airplane and putting their life at risk, it's crazy.
It is. It is. It makes you appreciate what you have in our various worlds.
Yes,
mostly developed countries. Yeah.
I've often said your nation is the best nation on earth.
Yes, and we were just talking about that earlier. About how did they do that during
I know,
those
right?
36 hours?
I just had to throw that in. It was a little satire.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, Liz says depends. Depends on what. Oh, I get it. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Before we get into any more trouble. This is speaking of movements. Liz says, let's move to number 2. Oh, I didn't even try to do that. Let's see. Report West Atlantic AT-72 at Guernsey and Jersey on April 16th, 2021, a cargo shift in flight. A West Atlantic ATR 72-200 freighter, registration Golf Charlie Lima November Kilo, performing flight 904 from Guernsey to Jersey. And is this the CI? Is that Canary Islands, I think?
I would guess.
Channel Islands.
Channel Islands, okay.
Okay. With 2 crew, in the English Channel, okay. Was taking off from Guernsey when the crew heard a thud sound, which they attributed to water bottles moving in the cabin. Without feeling an anomaly in the flight controls, the aircraft continued to Jersey for a safe landing about 15 minutes after departure. During the landing roll, they heard a sliding sound, closely followed by another loud thud. The aircraft vacated the runway and taxied to the stand. The Air Accidents Investigation Branch released their bulletin reporting a unit load device, a ULD, or a UDL is what I like to call it, which had been loaded on pallet position C3, the middle, had moved rearwards into position C4 and was stopped by the ULD and C5 during takeoff. Then as soon as the brakes were applied for slowing the aircraft during landing, the ULD moved forward, broke through the forward locks, and was stopped by the ULD in position C1. The AAIB reported the ground handling organization performed an investigation and reported that the loader may have been distracted during the loading. Moreover, there was no requirement for an independent check of the locks to be carried out as the ULD were loaded. The organization introduced safety actions, revising their loading procedure to provide for an independent verification that all locks are in the correct position when the aircraft's loaded. Go to that first picture, Liz, if you don't mind. Looks like the one on the right is what these rails and locks should look like when the ULDs or pallets are in position. The first picture on the left there is the condition of the tracks in this particular incident, and they were all broken up.
That's I mean, I'm looking at this, Jeff, and being that I used to work on the ramp and used to deal with these types of containers and loading systems. the one on the right is the way it should look, absolutely, and the left. I'm not sure that. I mean, obviously, if they did the investigation and discovered that the locks weren't in proper position, but I'm almost not sure that the tracks didn't come off because of maybe the shift of the load. I mean,
Mhm.
it may be the tracks were defective, because I've never seen. I mean, you got to realize that those tracks are actually rollers. So for something to dislodge like that, that's a rolling device. ULDs are flat on the bottom. I don't know how it would have grabbed and pulled the tracks out of the system, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either. That doesn't look just like a standard locks weren't in place and they just slid on the tracks. It looks different.
It looks like it almost looks like there's some maybe metal fatigue and they gave way. It's my, just based on this photo. Obviously I don't know all the facts here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else to say about that. I don't have much experience with although we did have these kind of systems in the C-141, but that was like a long time ago.
Yeah,
so I don't remember much about that.
Any wide body in the world that is flying nowadays in the baggage compartment has this type of system in it, and also as well as cargo carriers that have converted the main cabin floors into cargo as well. So like FedEx, UPS, those guys all have that type of same system, and it's very effective. And generally speaking, they tend not to leave open spaces so that they can't shift that much either. So that's what they'll actually fly. Well, I remember when we used to load them, we would make sure every loading position was full, even if it was an empty container.
Mm-hmm. And you make sure that the locks were in the
absolutely.
Yes, Liz is making a good point. This could have ended up badly with the load shift, and yes, that's why this is so critical, because you have to. Luckily, they said that the shifting of that ULD that was not locked, everything stayed within the envelope of a safe center of gravity. The center of gravity envelope of the airplane, so they were never outside of that. But that could have easily not have been the case if the ULD had been heavier, or maybe one of the other ULDs moved out of position and put it outside that safe range. Could have been a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Just like that. I know it didn't involve ULDs at 747. I think there were heavy equipment, like armored personnel carriers, or I don't think they were tanks, but they were very large, heavy vehicles that shifted during the takeoff roll. And of course that put it outside of the safe envelope, and there was nothing that crew could do.
No.
I-hole boxes, ultimate.
I remember watching that
lethal
video here
device.
on the show. It was,
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, very hard.
By the way, John Jester was the featured guest on last week's Plane Talking UK podcast, and he touched on that a little bit because he flies the 747 for Acme Giant. And he said that he saw that video once, and that was all he couldn't watch it again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yep. Too close to home for sure. Okay. Now it's going to take me a moment to load up a video. And this is a... Yep, we do love Vaz Aviation. And I was hoping that Steph would be here for us to talk about this, but we'll just have to move on without her, I guess.
I guess so. Has anybody ever told you, Jeff, you're a handsome man?
No. But thank you. and then you should add, Dana, well, there's a reason for that.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Because you're the airline pilot guy.
Yeah. No, there's a reason that nobody has told me that I'm handsome.
Oh. I got you. Yeah.
Let's see. Student pilot. Here we go. But thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I appreciate it when people suck up to me like that.
I'm not sucking up. Don't get it wrong.
Okay. Let me check something here on the Evernote news. See if there's something that we could cover. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull an audible. I think that Liz just left her directing position, so now I can take advantage of that and change it up a little bit. So instead of doing numbers or 1C, Dana, let's move to the next one here, 1D.
I can see
And-
that though.
What's that?
1C and 1D.
Oh, shoot, you can't. Never mind. Forget it. I'm going to skip to the next news item, and we'll
Sounds
we'll
good.
loop back to the one that I was going to cover. So I'm hoping that Steph will be with us. Anyway, so here, this item is Virgin pilot fired over claims he took 40 winks during flight. He wins a 90,000 pound payout, and this is from the Mirror Online. Captain Mike Lawson was accused of reckless behavior and later fired in May 2017, with Virgin citing his failure to pass 2 flight simulator tests in 2016 as the reason. And I'm going to show a picture of Mr. Mike Lawson. And let me just get to that here. Liz, we went ahead, I made a command decision and skipped to the next one. So we're talking about Captain Mike Lawson. And let's see, let me get back to this. Okay. A Virgin Atlantic pilot who was sacked over unfounded rumors he took 40 winks during a long-haul flight when his co-pilots were sick has won 90,000 pounds in compensation. Captain Mike Lawson said the rumor circulated and saw the company turn against him, and he was unfairly dismissed. The 50-year-old had claimed 1.7 million pounds in compensation from the airline, which he claimed took action against him following a flight from London to Hong Kong in 2015. An employment tribunal in Crowden heard Captain Lawson started his long-haul career on its Airbus 340 fleet, having joined Virgin Atlantic in 1998. The tribunal panel heard that Captain Lawson was accused of reckless behavior, but he denied this and said that happened he would have faced disciplinary action. The tribunal judge, Brian Doyle, said these alleged events were never mentioned to him. They are undocumented and unrecorded. The tribunal agrees with the claimant that it's hard to believe that a high-profile airline would allow a pilot to be reckless to fly its customers and airplanes for 17 years, let alone as a captain. He said the airline took events of the early 2000s into account in some way in its decision-making to dismiss him in 2017 without giving him the chance to respond to those historic allegations. The tribunal heard that during 17 years, Captain Lawson passed every one of more than 50 simulator and line flying tests. The panel said that the heart of his claim was the so-called Hong Kong incident in September 2015 when 2 co-pilots had upset stomachs after recent trips to Delhi, but were fit to operate. Captain Lawson had flown the 11-hour route many times, at least once a month, and was very familiar with it. On long-haul flights like this, the 3 pilots take turns to have periods of rest away from the flight deck, with 2 pilots usually remaining on the deck. 3 hours into the flight, one co-pilot with Delhi belly went to the toilet and briefly fainted while returning to the flight deck, and he asked to take a rest. After 4.5 hours into the flight, the other co-pilot needed the toilet, but did not quite make it in time. It doesn't really go into much more detail than that.
Ugh.
And crew found him in a seat next to the toilet so he could manage his symptoms. I guess, not sure what symptoms he was managing. I think if they're the kind of symptoms that I'm thinking of, sitting on the toilet would probably
Maybe
have
the
managed
best
it
choice, yeah.
better.
Much better
So,
choice.
I'm thinking that maybe he felt faint or something. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you're going to pass out, better pass out in the toilet with those symptoms.
Yeah, true.
Oh, and it probably better be in the toilet passing out there and not passing gas in the cabin.
Yes, especially with the Delhi belly.
Yeah, the Delhi belly.
Possible show title? I don't know. The plane was over central Russia, and Captain Lawson said to land at a remote Russian airfield would only be attempted in an absolute emergency, and he decided the safest course would be for him to continue in charge alone to Hong Kong, where they had an uneventful landing. The tribunal heard that negative rumors about the flight began, saying the flight was one big F-up and that Captain Lawson will probably get the sack. Captain Lawson said the airline's failure to publish a report into the incident meant he could not defend himself against the rumors. He was sacked in May of 2017, with Virgin citing his failure to pass 2 flight simulator tests in 2016 as the reason. Such rumors were untrue, but nevertheless, his colleagues were reluctant to work with him. So again, he claimed unfair dismissal, and the tribunal ruled in his favor and awarded him a total of $89,000. Oh wait, I thought they were saying $90,000 before. Maybe adjusted for inflation. I don't know.
Wow.
But the panel said that he couldn't be reinstated. So he got a little bit of money out of it, probably not as much as he should have, if what he's claiming is true. Now, I'm kind of, I wish that Captain Nick were with us today, because we did, Liz, you asked Captain Nick if he knew this pilot, and he said he did. He had flown with him as Nick's first officer early on. And what was the exact way he put this, Liz, about? Oh, okay. Okay, we will not say what he said, because Nick's not here. He may not want us to say what he thought, but he said he was a good colleague, and I guess a good pilot, right? Or
Yeah,
did
well,
he
if he
say
passed all his check rides,
Yeah.
then certainly, I mean,
Yeah.
you just don't. It's not handed to you on this little platter. You have to earn each check
Right.
ride. Every time you go to the simulator, you have to earn it. So,
Mhm.
and if in fact he passed every check ride, then, he's not a bad pilot.
Yeah, and I must say that this situation that they're talking about, this Hong Kong incident, if that's what they really were firing him for, although they're not claiming that, but it was an unusual incident for sure. But I'm not sure how else you would handle it if your 2 first officers were sick and couldn't remain at their control positions. And I think his reasoning, at least the way I understand it, was not flawed and not, landing at a remote Russian airfield.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sound decision, if you ask me. I mean,
Yeah.
and now you sat in a major international incident over 2 sick FOs that, how sick are they? We don't know. That's
Mhm.
part of this scenario we don't have. So,
Right.
and it says 40 winks. So when I see that, does that mean he took a nap?
So that's the thing I was going to say about the writing of this article. To me, when you say I'm going to take 40 weeks, that means I'm going to take a nap, right?
Yeah, 40 winks. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap.
But it wasn't the captain that was accused of taking a nap. It was the first officers leaving the flight deck because of their deli belly.
Right.
I don't know. I don't understand that whole term 40 winks in the context of this article.
It wasn't, I'm sorry, I'm just rejoining kind of mid-story here, but it wasn't.
I'm hearing a voice.
I know.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's Steph. Hey, Steph.
Hi. It wasn't the captain?
No.
That was. Wait, I'm so confused.
The captain stayed on the flight deck.
Yeah, he stayed on the
while
flight deck, but he's the one who took 40 winks.
Well, it
That's
doesn't
what the
say
very
that
first-
anywhere.
A Virgin pilot who was sacked over unfounded rumors he took 40 winks during a long-haul flight when his co-pilots were sick has won 90.
Oh, okay, so they're saying
compensation.
that he was on the flight deck by himself and then sleeping also on
That's
the flight
the
deck?
implication. It doesn't
Yeah.
explicitly say that, but that is the implication.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, that is, I guess you could say that because normally on this kind of a flight, you're probably going to have a rest period, right?
Sure.
And-
Well, but that's where us not having Captain Nick is key, because they're different than American Airlines in that they don't have a rest facility on their airplanes. If I remember correctly, he said they would always have the 2 pilots and then one sitting in the jump seat.
I think that some of them, no, I think he said some of them do have, I think the A340 does. The 330, I don't think all of them do have rest facilities, and they would occupy a business class seat or something like that. I don't know. You're right, Dana. Wish Captain Nick.
Nick,
help us
where
out
are
here.
you?
Yeah.
He's in a wind tunnel, apparently. Windstorm. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Liz, let's do that. Let's hold that over and address this again on the next episode and see if we're just not understanding this quite properly. Yes, Steph, are you going to stay here for a few minutes?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And my apologies. There's things going on that
you know.
are a bit out of my control at the moment. That
Oh, yeah, we
I need
completely
to,
understand.
Yeah.
No problem.
Sorry for
If you need to
the
go
listeners
again-
and the people watching live. If there's some phone calls I may have to take today.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, we'll try to
as
sneak
far as I
this
know,
in quickly.
I'll be here. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's see. I say quickly, but I'm still trying to. Oh, we're going to go to 1C. And we're going to play a little video. Let me see. Let me remove this and then hit add to screen. Our friends at VAS Aviation, Real Aviation Communications. Here we go. Okay. Do I need to pause this? I think I do. Let's see. Okay. Hi. I was flying along the... Okay, this is somebody on... What is this? Some kind of a social media communication, maybe? Or an email?
That looks like... I'm not sure. Like the one text bubble looks like an actual text message, but I'm not sure what the other platform is.
Well, some kind of communication here. I was flying along the California coast today when I overheard a student pilot on 121.5, our guard frequency, looking for help as his throttle was stuck full open. This happened around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The CTAF there, 122.8, would likely include some of the story. After landing, I have looked online to see if there was any news or anything, but I haven't seen anything. Thanks. So I think that...
This looks like information that was sent to VAS Aviation. So both from there's a text bit at the top that came from the actual student pilot, and then someone else was sending it as well. So maybe this was on their Facebook page.
Okay.
Or somewhere else, yeah. Twitter.
And then it says,
that might be Twitter, actually. Yeah.
The magic of internet. Be advised, this video covers a complete 25-minute period. Silences and unrelated communications have been deleted for time saving. And for that, we are very much appreciative. Let's continue the video. I'm waiting. I guess we're...
What's traffic, number 49931, still about 4 miles out of the runway at 20. I think I'll have to cut the engine when I'm going into landing because right now I have no throttle control, cannot land with 100% power. I'm going to stay up in the air a little bit to figure things out, and then we'll advise when to be coming in. Thank you so much, Watsonville.
Hey, I heard you on the 121.5. I'm a CFI. So you having a full problem with your throttle? It's full open?
Right now my throttle is a little bit towards in the middle, but I'm getting 100% power.
Okay, if you can, just try to keep it, give yourself a long final. Give yourself about a 5, 6, 7, 8 mile final if you can. Aim for the runway, come in, don't try to change the speed too much, stay a little bit low because you'll be fast. Once that happens, start pulling that mixture once you know you have the runway made. Climb up just a little bit so you can reduce your speed. You're going to gain altitude, that's why you stay low, and then try to make the runway. It could work out that way.
Roger that. So right when I'm coming in for the runway, I should fill out the mixture. And do I cut the magnetos or do I keep them on?
You got to cut that engine if it's not responding to your engine throttle inputs. So do whatever you got to do. Pull that mixture, turn the mags off, and try to get that engine cut. Do you have a fuel cutoff switch or valve?
Yes, I do have one.
I would pull that after you pull the mixture. Definitely try to get that engine to cut.
Roger that, I'll do that. I'll still take a couple of minutes in the air to gather myself, and then I'll be coming in for a final.
Sounds good. Keep us advised, and we'll help you out if you need it.
Roger that. Thank you so much. I don't know what's the right time to put down the flaps, because the arc is at 85.
You 172?
No, this is 152, 49931.
What type of aircraft are you?
It's a 152.
152, okay. Let me think here for a minute.
The aircraft is having problems. He's outbound, inbound?
I think he's going to stay up there for a second to figure some things out.
Okay, sir, thanks for your help. Do you know anything about him? Does he have a flight instructor here on the field?
I'm a student solo number 49931.
Okay, 49931. Are you soloing out of Watsonville?
Yes, soloing out of Watsonville.
Who's your flight instructor out of Watsonville?
Yes, my flight instructor is from United Flight Services.
Okay, we're going to try to find someone from United to get with you.
Roger that. Thank you so much.
And if ground vehicle will stay put here for the aircraft. Watsonville.
Student from United Flight, are you over the field?
No, right now I'm about 3 miles out from runway 20. I'm trying to get set up for final.
Okay, keep us posted. We're looking for you.
Roger that. Thank you so much.
Okay, student pilot, we're headed over to United Flight to find your flight instructor.
Thank you so much.
If you can, keep headed toward the field, because if that engine quits, you want to be as close as you can.
Right, got it. Right now I'm at 4,000 feet, so I can make the field if the engine quits right now. But if I start coming in towards the airport, I'm just going to have too much power and speed.
No, we want you to head toward the airport and circle the airport high. You can be above the airport.
Roger that. I'll do that. Thank you.
And to the student pilot who's having the emergency, how familiar are you with engine out emergency procedures?
I'm pretty familiar with them. I've practiced them quite a few times with my instructor.
Another option that I can give you is if you want to circle the field and you still cannot make any power adjustments at 4,000 feet, you can try putting that mixture to idle and glide it all the way down, circling for the runway, but it's your decision.
Right, I'll think about it, because if I cut out the mixture, then I have to get the fuel valve off and the magneto stuff, correct? I just cut off the whole engine.
At this point, you're just an emergency aircraft, so you don't if you can get the engine to stop with the mixture cut, that'll be good enough.
Perfect, thank you so much. I'll just go through my checklist again.
Yep, go for it. Just another option for you if you want to make that work.
And student pilot, we're still looking for your flight instructor, so he should be on the horn pretty shortly.
Can you hear 931 at all?
That's NorCal approach.
Yeah, I can listen to that guy with the emergency at Watsonville, CTAF 20502.
Number 5, is he okay? Like, were you monitoring that frequency? Is that why? I was trying to get a hold of you, but I couldn't hear you. But is he okay right now? What's the status?
I think the guy has full throttle. He cannot pull power. So he's talking to somebody. I think Watsonville ground is on that frequency as well. And they're trying to help him right now to 0502.
Okay, so somebody is actively talking to 931 and trying to help him out?
Yes, Watsonville ground is on that frequency to 0502.
Okay, thanks. Number 502, can you do me a favor? Can you go to the CTAF real quick and ask him if he needs emergency equipment? Also, can you have him give you an estimate of fuel remaining and how many people are on board?
All right, we'll ask for fuel remaining people and if he needs equipment to 0502. Give me 1 second.
Number 502, thanks a lot. We got, here's the situation. There's a Skyhawk, we believe it's a Skyhawk directly over Watsonville. He's got a stuck full throttle. It's basically an emergency situation right now. He's on the CTAF. If you know, I know you've done so much flying over the jump zone and stuff, and maybe if you guys could, if you have the time to maybe help him out, but we believe he's on the CTAF and he's got a stuck full throttle.
And 328 Victor Romeo, we're going to go off frequency and we'll be back with you shortly.
Number 8 Victor Romeo, I appreciate that, and thanks a lot, buddy.
Absolutely, anything we can do there.
That's not to 0502.
Number 502, go ahead.
All right, so it's a student, so it's just one person on board, and he has about 13 gallons of fuel.
So one student, and you said how many hours of fuel?
It would be 13 gallons of fuel. Let me ask him how much is it going to be.
Oh, that's fine. We don't want to stress him out. So 13 gallons of fuel left remaining. How do you sound?
The guy sounds confident right now. He's just overflying. He just doesn't want to kill the mixture or the engine, so he's overflying the area. 20502.
502, thanks a lot. Number 502, yeah. Tell him it's not an issue if he needs equipment. It's better to be safe than sorry. So if he feels he needs equipment, please tell him it is not an issue with regards to that aspect.
Okay, and this is your solo?
Yes, I'm soloing right now.
Okay, so you're above the field, and have you talked to ATC?
I reported my problem to 121.5 right now. There's just a couple of other airplanes on there.
Mechanic at United Flight, you said that you don't have any throttle authority, correct?
I do not. If I pull the throttle back, even when it's idle, it starts going up really high.
Number 502, contact approach 120.1. Thank you for the help.
All right, contact 120.1, and we have an update on the emergency to CFX02.
502, go ahead.
The emergency, he's talking to a mechanic right now, and he says he doesn't have any control on the throttle to 0502.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, student pilot Unicom here. How do you read?
Loud and clear, 49931.
Okay, we found a United Flight flight instructor. So your plane is with United Flight. The flight instructor is with United Flight. I'm going to turn it over to him. We got you over the field, and he's going to help you out.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Hey, what altitude are you at right now?
I'm at about 6,700.
Okay, you done engine out landings, and if you who's your instructor, Harry?
Harry, yes.
Okay, so you're going to control this basically with the mixture.
Got it.
Start pulling the mixture back, and you can go idle cut off. Once you go idle cut off, and it'll kind of shut itself off for a little bit, you can start a descent at about 70 knots or so, and then come back in slowly, and you'll see the engine should restart. So do that a few times just to get used to it.
Perfect, got it. So what I do is I go mixture idle, and then it cuts off, and then when I start going in and I put in the mixture back, I'll get it back again, correct?
So go ahead and pull the mixture all the way back and start descend maybe 500 or 1,000 feet and try that out, and then slowly put it back in. So you want to do that? You want to get down to about, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000, about 2,000 feet, and you're going to set yourself up, on a long final for 20, okay? And then you're going to come in at about 2,000, start descending, and then you'll slowly pull once you kind of be a little bit high for the field, you'll pull the mixture back and start slowing the plane down, and you'll start putting the flaps in and land. If it doesn't work out, you put the mixture back in, put the flaps back up, and try it again, okay?
Roger that, I'll try that again, and then I'll start descending right now.
Number 75 Zulu, for an emergency aircraft over Watsonville, I want you to remain at least 4 miles away from the Watsonville Airport.
4 miles away from Watsonville, would you prefer I go to the left or to the right?
Going to the east of Watsonville would be fine, but the issue is that we have a plane who's got a stuck throttle over Watsonville, so his altitude can change very rapidly at times, and he's staying within a couple miles of the airport. But yeah, just remain 4 miles outside of the Watsonville Airport.
4 miles outside Watsonville, 75 Zulu. And NorCal Ranger 328 Victor Romeo has update for Watsonville.
All right, Victor Romeo, go ahead.
Yes, the aircraft pilot sounds very confident. He is in contact with operators of the aircraft on the ground, and he is currently on final for runway 20 at Watsonville, and it appears that no equipment will be required.
All right, Victor Romeo, can you do me a favor? Can you monitor that frequency and the mechanic and just advise us when he is safely off the runway, please?
And we will continue to monitor, and we'll continue to pass on the update. 328 Victor Romeo.
Right, Victor Romeo, Roger. They're just relaying to me now. I guess everything did go fine. Once again, thanks for all your help in the relay and stuff. Really appreciate that.
Oh, our pleasure, anytime. 328 Victor Romeo.
Number 205, and Watsonville's good to go for you. I think those guys on the ground at Watsonville did an awesome job.
Advising that aircraft is clear of runway 20 Watsonville.
Is runway 20 open?
Yes, sir. The emergency aircraft just clear out runway 20, sir.
That 47, so we'll be taxiing on 27 to hold short runway 20 Watsonville.
And Watsonville Traffic Airport ground vehicle and emergency aircraft will be traveling north on taxiway Alpha, Watsonville.
Okay. And then we have a little bit more narrative from the student pilot. I used the mixture to kill the engine and circled down to the runway. Before killing it, I tried reducing it just so I could still have some power on final. But before the speed, my RPM dropped and the prop stopped. So at the end, it was an engine out landing midfield. Did S-turns while in a slip because I was too high. I also tried restarting to make sure if I had an option for a go-around, but it didn't start, so I had to put it down no matter what. And I think, we've been watching the comments from our live audience, and everybody is saying, and that my initial impression when I've heard this was, wow, you could not tell that this was a student pilot at all. Very, very confident sounding voice on the radio. It seemed like he was in control the entire time.
Yeah, it sounds like he had, he was doing everything that he'd been taught up to that point. So I don't know how many hours he actually had flying, but certainly his instructor had covered at least the basics of an emergency situation like this. Usually you're covering engine out, not engine or throttle stuck full open. So that'll throw you for a loop a little bit if you haven't considered that scenario. But he was doing exactly what he was taught to do. He reported the emergency, the nature of it, got to talk to other people who could help him out. He was going through his checklists. He was, making smart, good aeronautical decisions. And this worked out really well. He's also the most polite pilot I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Everything ended with "thank you so much."
He was very nice.
Yes.
And Dana, you're a CFI. How did the CFIs here do?
Well, you want to know what? I'm really impressed with everybody involved here. The level of calmness that was portrayed by everybody was absolutely astounding. The information that's when I first saw what happened, my first inkling was, okay, we've got mixture. I was thinking, as a CFI, what can we use to help this guy out? Now, the one thing I disagree with, I don't know that I would have brought the mixture all the way back and then start bringing it forward. I would probably brought it back to get the engine running a little rough, and which of course would decrease its efficiency and certainly reduce its power, and that would have helped him to descend and keep the engine running, even if it was very rough, down a little until lower. As he said at the end, he didn't have an engine to go back to because, well, let's face it, the airspeed at that point when he's down that close to the ground, he didn't have
not going to be enough to restart it.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough to restart it. So that would be my one comment on what happened there. But I mean, my hat's off, quite literally, to that young man, or I don't know if he's a young man, but whoever that pilot was absolutely spectacular and handled that situation as well as a well-grounded professional airline pilot like you and I, Jeff, have been has been flying forever. And hats off to that instructor who took the time to train this kid really well.
Yeah, and I think really this is what the student pilot did very well was it's easy to start to let your mind think too quickly. And he was really good at slowing things down, recognizing, hey, the problem I have is one that's going to keep me in the air. I've got plenty of fuel. There's not, and I'm glad that when he finally did start talking to the, I think it was Unicom, that they wanted him to come back towards the airport, because I was thinking that at first too. I was like, well, you can stay high, but I'd rather be real close to someplace to put it down if the engine does decide to quit.
His composure, his composure
is amazing.
Absolutely amazing. And in the chat room was a little bit about the NorCal approach, and that they're trying to be a little too pushy there, trying to get how many people on board and how much fuel. That's really what their job is to do. Is that it's trying to ascertain what the threat level is and what the potential loss of life can be, and how long this person can stay in the air. So they're just doing their job. So I think everybody in this case did exactly what this.
Yeah, and Hillel makes a good point. He said, good on NorCal for not pushing for the fuel in time.
Yeah, they can figure. I mean, they can do the math there pretty quick. A 152 with 13 gallons of fuel. He's got plenty of fuel to figure out this problem, especially if he's at the airport. He's not like in the middle of some long cross country and.
Things
2 hours
burn,
to go still.
Thing burns what, 5-6 gallons per hour or something like that?
At full power, maybe. And that's another thing, is that was excellent advice. I forget who said it, but come over the airport and circle over the airport.
Yeah.
Because if you're too far away from the airport, even though he already thought that out, he's like 4,000 feet. I'm 3 miles away from the airport. I can make it. And yes, a 152 has an excellent glide ratio. So yes, his answer was correct. But there's no better place to be than right over the top of the airport.
Right.
Yep. And that's actually, I was thinking back to just private pilot training, but then also commercial training. That's something that's emphasized much more when you're working on your commercial, certainly, emergency descents, power off 180s, that type of thing. It's less emphasized, I think, at the private pilot level, at least when I did my training. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but
I think the the most problematic thing that I heard in this whole incident was NorCal asking for some jumper dumpers to give advice on what this guy should do.
Yeah, don't trust those guys. They don't know what
I know.
they're doing.
As a former jump pilot, when I heard when they asked that question, yes, I would agree with that. Those are the wrong guys to ask.
You know what? We know a
don't
thing
worry
or
about
we know a thing or two about circling an airport to land, though.
That's true.
That's half of our day.
Okay.
Directly overhead, and all we want to do is go down and get
tell
on the
him
runway
to
as
just,
efficiently as
tell all
possible
the
without
jumpers-
touching the power.
Tell all the jumpers to leave the air. Oh, wait a minute. No, there are no jumpers. Okay. We don't know what to do then.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
yeah.
Love it. Oh, yeah. Good point, Liz. Although I'm not sure that Liz is saying that he could have been like that guy that ditched his airplane over the mountains in California, except that I don't think he was wearing a parachute.
No.
Yeah, no.
He wasn't participating in the school of solo skydiving.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, I thought that was a great.
No, this was fantastic,
video.
and I think it's very instructive, especially for anyone who's listening who is a student pilot now, how to maintain your composure. You know, slow is fast in these situations. Slow down everything. Don't let your mind run away from you. Even if you have no idea what the situation is at first. If the airplane's still flying, you've got power, you've got time. Trust your training, follow your checklists, and yeah, it'll be a good outcome.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Seth. That is very good advice. On the professional side of things, we always are taught to, we've got a no time box, and we have a time box. The no time box is okay. You're on fire. Your engines have quit, or parts of the airplane have fallen off, and who knows what else. You need to get the airplane back on the ground. This is a perfect example of sit on your hands, wind your clock. Well, of course, most people don't wear. Everybody wears digital now, but wind your watch and think things through and relax. And that is,
and
as you
that's
said,
the vast majority of emergencies, right?
That's
There are some that are time critical, but the vast majority are take that deep breath, survey the situation.
Yep. Yeah, and the ones that usually don't end up very well are the ones that it was a time
critical.
Or no, it was not a time critical thing, and they made it into.
They made it
one.
time critical,
Right.
Exactly.
And they rushed it and forced it, without thinking about everything. Yeah, so great experience, good story, and a lot to learn from that, and job well done. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's continue with 1E stuff.
I got it.
Here
I know where we're
is
at.
another one because we skipped D.
Well,
Okay,
Liz
great.
has already removed D from the.
Oh.
She's efficient.
Oh, I still see it, but okay, good. I guess my Evernote has not refreshed, and let's. I have something that I have to set up here. Okay. In the meantime, Liz will throw up that still. Although, why don't you do the next one, Liz? It's a still from the video. And that shows a 737-200.
Whew.
Very low.
Wow.
Let me read a little bit of this narrative. Yeah, I think Dana is flying that 737, Liz.
Yep, that's the one.
You guys got 200s?
Yes, we still do. Acme Airlines still flying 200 around.
I don't think so. Anyway, an Aerosucker Boeing 737.
Aerosucre.
I'm sorry. I mispronounced it. Aerosucre Boeing 737-200 registration Hotel Kilo 5192 performing a flight from Puerto Carreno to Bogota, Colombia, departed Puerto Carreno's runway 07 when one of the engines showed an overheat indication and lost thrust. The crew continued takeoff, managed to climb just above treetops, electrical power lines, and houses past the end of the runway outside the aerodrome, and returned to Puerto Carreno for a safe landing a couple of minutes later. A video that became viral shows the aircraft at a low height, crossing just above the wires, treetops, and roofs of houses about 250 meters or 800 feet past the runway end. The trees immediately reacted to the aircraft's wake turbulence. However, no actual contact between aircraft and trees is visible, leading to claims that the aircraft had hit the treetops, which dropped leaves as a result. But I think that if you watch the video here, I think it's of the airplane flying low overhead ended up kind of disturbed the leaves from the trees. But we're going to watch the video right now as soon as I get that ready to play. So just bear with me for a second. Share video. And it's quite impressive. I think you'll all agree. Scary, actually. Okay, here we go. Here's the security video camera. Look in the upper right-hand corner, and there it is. Going by. Barely. And now you'll watch the trees in the background kind of swaying and reacting to the... and then you can see some leaves and debris flying around. You can actually even hear it in this video. Yeah, that was low. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Here we go. And there it is. Wow.
That's a new definition of trimming the treetops.
Need some tree pruning?
Yep.
We'll just use the 73200. It's fine.
So something I didn't notice when I first saw this video was this slide right here, and you see the yellow circle there, and you can see the #1 engine, and looks like some flame coming out of it, I guess, or something. It's not normal, and that's the engine. The afterburner's on. Good point, Liz. I didn't think about that. So they should have had plenty of power. Reheat, yeah. Okay, so let me get back to Evernote and read a little bit more. Company pilots reported later that one of the engines had overheated and power was lost from the engine, which climbed out at only 50% thrust available. The aircraft returned to Puerto Carreno for an emergency landing a few minutes later, and then they made it safely, and then we saw the picture already of the emergency vehicle in front of the 737-200 on the ground. And let's see, anything else here? Yeah. The cargo airline is being reviewed in all aspects, including technical, climatic, human, operational, and other multiple aspects. Oh, thank you for
all aspects, multiple aspects.
All aspects, yes. Anyway, so at first when I saw this, I'm thinking, man, somebody really messed up. But then after we, read a little bit more about it, it turns out that these pilots did a great job of keeping the airplane from crashing, and they got it back down on the ground. So good job.
Yeah, fantastic job. I mean, that's really what we trained for, right?
That's your V1 cut right there, probably.
That's a V1 cut, probably right there, about V1. I mean, that's prior to that, you're going to abort if you lose an engine, and so they took it off the ground. They used their I'm sure max power and just flew the airplane through it, and yeah, amazing job. They got lucky that the clearway was good enough for them to clear everything and get airborne and come back and put it down meaningfully on the runway.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if I bet because it was Colombia that the elevation was kind of on the high side.
Puerto,
elevation.
Carreno.
Oh, that's true. It could be. Let's see. Looks like topographic map I'm looking at here.
Hold on, that's at 51 meters above sea level.
Oh, so it's not, it's pretty close to sea level. Never mind then.
167 feet.
Okay.
That's lower than my current elevation. Probably all of three of us, actually.
But, we're 1,000 feet over here.
Yeah.
But one factor there that, of course, is what was the temperature?
Yeah, exactly. So the average high temperature throughout the year is the lowest average high temperature looks like 88, and the highest is 97.
Yeah, so in a jet engine in a hot, humid environment, it's not the most efficient.
And how long is the runway at Puerto Carreno?
That's a good question, which I don't know the answer to.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Okay. But somebody in our live audience will figure that out for us. Staff! Figure out how long the runway is there. Okay, they're on it. Or maybe Steph's on it.
5,906 feet.
Okay. Not I mean, not the longest
super
runway
long.
in the world, but not super short either. So yeah, yeah. For a jet, that's kind of on the short side for sure. Yeah,
especially for a shorty called the 73200.
Yep.
With a real old engine in it.
Yeah, those JT8Ds.
Mm-hmm.
The lead sled. All right. Well, very good. Good job, guys and gals. Let's finish off the news segment with this. You'll recall that Nick did a plane tale about the, it was entitled the Rosinen bomber, right?
Yep.
And it's Gail Halverson. Let's see, Tale of the, is that right, Liz? Tale of the Rosinen bomber in APG 257? Okay. Tale of, okay. Gotcha. So anyway, this was sent in to us from Captain, oh, really? I didn't know Captain Nick sent this. I thought somebody, I think somebody else did as well.
I think you're right.
Let us know
Yeah.
that the candy, okay. The candy bomber of Berlin blockade, Gail Halverson, dies at 101. Gail Halverson, the U.S. military pilot who brought joy to Berlin's children by dropping candy in tiny handkerchief parachutes from his plane when the Soviet Union blockaded the divided city during the Cold War, has died. He was 101. So young. He died Wednesday evening at Utah Valley Hospital in Provo after a long illness, surrounded by most of his children, according to a Facebook post by his educational foundation. He was a pilot in the U.S. Army Air Corps, forerunner to the Air Force during the Second World War, ferrying transport planes in England, Italy, and North Africa. He remained in the military after the war ended, was stationed at Brookley Air Force Base in Mobile, Alabama. Oh, I remember Brookley. Flying C-74 Globemaster and C-54 Skymaster transports stateside. By the way, Brookley is where the Airbus manufacturing assembly plant
for the US.
is in Mobile, Alabama. In 1948, the newly rechristened U.S. Air Force had a renewed need for pilots in Germany, where the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin had implemented a blockade of West Berlin. And the German capital was divided into zones occupied by the U.S., the U.K., France, and the Soviet Union. It was sealed off when Stalin blocked ground transportation into the Allied sectors of the city. Flying the C-54 Skymaster, Halverson participated in the joint U.S.-UK effort known as the Berlin Airlift, which for almost a year delivered food and fuel to Berlin airfields from Allied bases in Western Germany. So anyway, he lived an amazing life.
Yeah, and a long life.
And long life, for sure, yeah. So rest in peace,
Yes.
Captain Halverson. And with that, I think it's now time to do this. All right, getting to know us, that segment of the show where we get all caught up and we talk about what's been happening since we were last on the show. We'll start with Steph. It's been a bit.
When
since
did I
you've been
see
with
you
us.
guys last? I can't remember.
I don't know. Was
I'm
it
not
this
sure
year?
either. Maybe.
2 weeks ago?
What
maybe?
year are we in?
I think we're still in 2022.
Okay, fair enough. Beginning of 2022 still, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, last week, let's go back at least that far. Yeah, I was conferencing, my favorite time of the year.
Did you learn a lot?
I did, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about your career.
Yes.
Your
This is
doctor
professional.
stuff.
This is professional development, professional education, required continuing medical education credits. I found the best way to get those is to combine as many things into one of those, because often they're held at big meetings, so that you can gather a whole lot of credits all at one time instead of just doing one or two here, one or two there. And you can combine it with other things like, your ski vacation and seeing your family. So this is a particularly good one because it's close to where the rest of my family lives. We've talked about Utah a couple times already on this show today, but
Yeah,
it's
it's a
out in
Utah show.
Utah show. out in Park City. So I did take 2 days of vacation. So Monday and Tuesday I had vacation days, and I was hoping my brothers would be able to join me for some skiing, but they were unable to get time off of work because they were quite short-staffed, which has been a familiar theme the past 6 months, year, longer. I'm not sure now, but that's okay. It was nice to just actually have some time to myself, and I was out at Brighton Resort in Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City, and I grew up out there and have been going to ski there in February for years and years and years, and wow, I have never seen it so such a little amount of snow cover. It's I know they got some snow this week, not a ton, like maybe 8 more inches, but that's not a lot up in the mountains. Places where you can normally ski, point A to point B, no problem, usually completely groomed over, no trace of anything that might be growing or hiding underneath that snow. Lots of exposed rocks and trees and runs that normally appear flat to in normal years, lots of bumps and grooves and crevices, just where the snow hasn't filled it in completely.
Little rough, huh?
Little rough. But the good thing is, even though they hadn't had snow for a while, it had been very cold for a while before I got there. So the snow quality actually wasn't terrible for what snow was there. You kind of just had to start first thing in the morning. So the best snow was right after things had been groomed. All the trails had been machine worked. Getting out there first thing in the morning and freezing a little bit. Actually, the vest I was wearing earlier is heated, and I got some heated socks, which, those are the best things ever. I wish I'd had those for, however many years I've been going and skiing. You just put them on the lowest setting, and inside your boot, it just keeps things nice and toasty. And so even when it was only like, 10, or well, let's see, in the morning it was like 13 degrees Fahrenheit. The first couple days I skied. But yeah, it was good. I skied those 2 days by myself. Enjoyed nice leisurely lunch both days at Molly Green's, which is a bar/restaurant up there, and some nice chili and burritos and local beers. And usually was done by about 2:30 or so, because if you start at 9 a.m. by yourself and go to 2:30 in the afternoon, and you don't have anyone else to wait on, or people taking bathroom breaks or food breaks or whatnot, you pack a lot of skiing into those several hours. So yeah, that was really nice. And then on trying to think which day, I think it was Wednesday. So the conference actually started Wednesday morning. So I went to that, and then my brothers were able to be off on Wednesday, so they came up to Park City and skied with me there. We actually had a really nice snow day there too. Again, not a lot of snow cover, but where we ended up skiing and the snow quality was actually pretty decent. We just found it was nothing technical. It was nothing challenging. We didn't want to be on the really steep, gnarly stuff because that's the stuff that's not covered with a lot of snow right now. So we just found some kind of gentle groomers, and we, enjoyed each other's company and goofed around a little bit, and had a nice afternoon. And holy cow, it's expensive to ski in Park City these days. I'm just going to say that. I'm not sure when that happened, but wow.
Inflation.
Yeah, no kidding. And I had a chance to ski the next day, Thursday, with one of my coworkers for my job here in North Carolina. He was out there for the conference as well. And then a friend from the University of Utah joined me on Friday. So I skied 5 days in a row, and that was really good. Actually, Thursday was the worst snow. It was a little bit warmer that day, and everything got kind of warm and sticky early on, and it wasn't great. But Friday was pretty good again. So, yeah. And headed home on Saturday. Did a little bit of airplane ferrying in the past week. Planes back and forth for 100-hour maintenance things, but ends up being a little bit of cross-country time, usually night flying, and been working a lot. So I think that pretty much brings me up to speed.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm just going to give apologies to Romeo Hotel for the one aircraft that we were ferrying with perhaps less than ideal comms. The radio's a bit old and tired.
A little scratchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's finicky. You have to have the intercom switch in just the right position, and then you usually have to disconnect the if anything's plugged in the right seat, in order to increase the fidelity to that which can be understood by people on the other side of the microphone or the other side.
Well, I'm sure that those professionals at Triad
they had no problem.
Had no problem with that.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Great. So this other guy here in our co-hosting window is somebody that I think the last time we saw Dana was December 3rd for our 500th episode. And he's back with us to kind of give us an update on what's been happening with you, Dana. Good to see you.
Well, hey, it's great
man.
to be back
Good to see you.
and great to see you guys. And let me tell you what, 500, what a great environment that was. Is truthfully an honor to be a part of it and be a part of this whole thing. Things for me, well, let's see. I didn't really give an update on 500 because, well, we had much bigger and better things to celebrate. But I think really since the last time you heard, was a couple feedbacks as to how training went on the 7.3 for me. And I'll tell you what, this experience, going back to first officer, was a bit challenging at first. However, I got to tell you what, I'm embracing it at this point. It's really going very well as far as my quality of life. And it's really melding really well with my ability to spend a lot of quality time on the lake and do things I'd like to do and enjoy to do, spend quality time with my wife. So that's kind of a summary of what's happened. However, let me talk a little bit more specifics about what I've been doing as far as the actual flying itself with Acme, and a little bit about the 737 and what I'm looking forward to going forward, because we just had a big position award that came out just the other day, actually yesterday. So anyways, the 737 transition, it's not an 88. I still love my 88, and I think Jeff can understand that. The 88 is it was a workhorse. It was a true aviator's airplane. You had to know how to fly. You had to know how to manage the FMS and then the systems on the aircraft, and even the brakes. I mean, the brakes were chatter-worthy on the 88 especially.
Chatter-worthy. That's a positive spin.
Definitely. So, but that's something we don't have to worry about on the 7.3, fortunately. If they're chattering, you get some major problems going on. But anyways,
and on the 717 either, they've done a good job of fixing that issue.
Yeah, and actually 717 is the quintessential perfect DC-9, isn't it, Jeff?
Mm-hmm, it is.
Yeah, it really is. And if the schedules were better on that airplane, I would actually consider coming to it, but probably not. So 7.3 is, it's, for me, I think we all knew this before I even went to the aircraft. Woohoo.
Sorry.
That's like a wheelbarrow, doesn't it?
What's that?
Somebody, I haul boxes. It flies like a wheelbarrow, doesn't it?
Not sure how a wheelbarrow would fly, but okay.
I'm trying to think about how that would be. No. It's actually one of the very redeeming things about the 7.3 I still enjoy very much is being able to do what I did on the 88, and that's click it all off and fly it just like I'd fly any general aviation airplane or try to fly the 7.3 smoothly. It's actually mighty fine flying airplane. But some of the things that and that I love about the 88, I'm kind of missing on the 7.3. But still, as I was starting to say, is when I was going to it, we knew what the biggest problem would be for me, and it continues to be that I'm a big guy, and fitting in that cockpit is very troublesome. And one of the things I've found that is most troublesome to me is where my iPad sits right underneath the right window. I actually have to literally flip it up so I can fly the airplane, because if it's down in a position where I can actually look at the approach plate, my arm's hitting it all the time. So when I'm doing hard IMC, I tend not to click the autopilot off. Not click the autopilot off because I just can't really hand fly the airplane very well with being able to see my charts. So the quality of life, the trips I'm getting on it, where I sit in seniority, I'm in the top 15% on the airplane in the right seat. So I'm getting to fly real good quality trips, and kind of like what Dr. Steph was talking about. I actually saw that she was in Salt Lake City and I was wondering if she was able to ski, because I've been flying out of Salt Lake City quite a bit, and there is very little snow throughout the entire valley. Now, when you go on,
sad.
it's sad. Now, when you go on the east side towards the Uintas in Park City, it looks like it has better snow on that side, that they're getting equivalent, somewhat normal snow. But on the west side, the Alta and the Snowbirds, they're not getting very much snow from what I can see. Yeah, so 737, I mean, I'm looking forward to where I'm going next, and I'm just going to leave it at that, because I think where I'm going to go next is going to be very comfortable for me, and that is more than likely. I've decided to hold off, because mentioning before that my quality of life is really good, and I am probably more than likely going to go to the Airbus 320, because that's where all our growth is. And I'm actually growing in seniority really quickly on it in the captain's seat. But I've decided to hold off on this last advanced entitlement only for one reason, because, well, I'm enjoying my life too much, and the quality of life is just that. I basically can almost handpick my trips. I'm not working, I'm working basically Monday through Thursdays, done generally by early Thursday morning. And there's a lot to be said for that. Just not about, flying as an airline captain. What I've been able to do is take all the experience that I have through, on the 88, and of course, upgrading to captain. I've now been able to really compartmentalize that and use that to my advantage to be an excellent FO to support any captain I'm flying with. And I just had this past week, we had a medical situation on the airplane, and the captain I was flying with him, we were working really well together. He says, you're a captain, you know what you're doing, you handle it, I'll just fly the airplane, work the radios. So, I mean, it's just, I really know that when I was a captain, that I really appreciated when I had a first officer that was experienced, that knew what they were doing. You can rely on them, and you didn't have to watch every little move they make. I appreciated that, so I've taken that and have made that decision that this is really where I want to be for the time being. And it's, it's not the perfect airplane for me. I'm not going to say I absolutely love the airplane for other reasons, which I'm not going to get into, because the show's only so long today. But I do know that going forward, if and when I do decide to fly the Airbus as a captain, I'll be far more comfortable in that airplane, just because the cockpit layout is much better for a big guy like me. I do want to say one thing. That darn trim wheel on the 737, I cannot tell you how many times it's nailed me in the knee. And my wife, Julie, keeps on saying to me, well, why don't you just go ahead and wear a knee pad to work? Yeah, actually, there's some validity to that. Because
going into battle, or just going to work.
Going to battle.
But Dana, that trim wheel on your 7.3 is just like the trim wheel on that 727 and pretty much every Boeing cockpit until I guess the 7.5, 7.6. But I think that the trim wheel was even bigger on the 727, so you could really get whacked on the 7.2. Yeah, you definitely learned not to put your knee over to the side and leaning up against that trim wheel.
And that's one of the things that I have a tendency to do, because my seat doesn't slide very far back, and there's really no room for my feet to go anywhere. So I kind of let my knees spread apart, and I learned I've actually learned to almost anticipate when the airplane's going to make a move, and I pull my knee off. It's got me a couple times.
Pavlovian conditioning at its finest right there.
So it's not a man-spreading airplane.
No, it is not. You do
Stop
not want
the man spreading.
You don't want to sit. You want to sit there with your legs crossed. Well, I can't do that because that yoke in my way. But no, I will say this is a couple things. One, I want to dispel a rumor, and that is, 737s. The reason why they had to move the engines forward and up is because they didn't want to redesign the landing gear. And I don't know if any or most in the community even know this, but the 100 and 200 737. They designed the landing gear to be low enough for unimproved airfield so that the air steers off one left door could make it to the ground. That's why the length of the landing gear is such. So they would actually have to redesign the whole landing gear system, which would require the redesign of the main the wing spars and everything else, and that would be a whole new airplane. So that's one of the things with the 737. Overall, just really happy to be enjoying what I'm doing and enjoying the time I'm having out there. I still have the Mad Dog. It's in the cockpit with me on my iPad. I have a picture of Jeff, and I can't remember who took the photograph when you were taking off out of Washington, D.C., but that is my background photograph on my iPad that everybody looks at me when the captain's looking at me, and that's all they see is my Mad Dog over there, because I'm always talking about my Mad Dog and how much I miss it. Every one of them think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I still love it.
Yeah, but you know what? They probably never flew it, right?
Yeah, a lot of the guys that I've flown with have never flown the airplane, and the bottom line is like you and I, Jeff. I mean, I flew it for 13 years. I taught it for 3 years. Beyond that, so I have 16 years worth of experience with it. I understood the airplane. I understood how it worked, and if you didn't take the time to learn it and understand it, then you never really did like the airplane. And and that's why a lot of people have that image of it. But you know what, the Mad Dog will always live in my heart. It was truly a joy to fly it, and I'm looking forward to going to the Airbus or the 7-1.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where looking at Acme Airlines, why is
hello? Sorry,
Delta crew calling me?
Oh no!
I mean Acme crew. Sorry, fix it in post. Here, let me just press this button to get rid of that call. I don't think I have any requests.
You can't get rid of that call.
They're just going to call you back until they get you.
What happened? Am I now still on the air?
Yep.
Okay. Because the iPhone I'm using as my little monitor that I can see what was going on the show just blanked out, but looks like it's back. I don't have any slip requests in. That's odd. Huh.
Probably
must have done
inverse.
Yeah. Oh, it could be. You're right. Yeah, inverse assignments might
inverse,
be.
You're number one on the air. Soon to be number one. So when Acme calls me, this is what my ringtone sound. My ringtone sounds like.
Take cover.
Take cover.
Incoming.
Incoming. Oh, right.
Oh, sorry. Switching it back. Switching it back.
Put the phone away.
It is on silent.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. Well, that threw us for a loop here for a second, or me at least.
Well, I just tried to keep it short and sweet. And
Oh yeah, good. I know what I was saying. It makes sense because Acme's fleet composition is more and more, siding toward the Airbus side of things, and so it just makes sense for somebody like you, Dana, who's going to be around for a while, to go ahead and just make the switch to the Airbus fleet and get some seniority and really enjoy the airplane. Everybody that I've talked to who have made the switch from Boeing/McDonnell Douglas to Airbus have. It takes some getting used to at first, but then once they do, they say it's great. They really enjoy flying the airplane. So,
I received this gift once upon a time from this captain. We may know him.
I've got one too.
He has a funny English accent. And he flew red and white airplanes, but
I think I remember him.
I still have it sitting here waiting to use it. But the reality is that you're absolutely right, Jeff. It's crazy. I mean, I've gone from not even being able to hold the airplane in the left seat, and that's some of the real positive news in the industry right now. It's crazy. We have a captain that was hired. Just got the award. That was hired November 30th of 2021. He hasn't even finished his first officer's training.
2.5 months, right?
He hasn't even finished his first officer's training. Now he's going to be a captain.
That is crazy.
It's absolutely astounding how things in this business, way back when I say, who knows, anything in this world, I always said it, anything in this world can change overnight and you have to be ready for that. But, we are truly, this really is the true beginning of this major shortage because of the 1,500-hour rule here in this country. And we are having problems even at the mainline level now trying to attract pilots. So and that's for all the main lines. The pool of pilots out there that are available is just astronomically low compared to where it's been, and I kind of keep my finger on the pulse of that stuff, and again, we're looking at what's going on over in the Russia and what can happen over there maybe, but I don't think that's going to have an effect. And this is the quickest, fastest turnaround of any major event in any airline's history in aviation. I mean, it's really 2 years, and we're already hiring at max levels, and going forward, we get huge retirements, so it's looking really good for this business going forward.
I'm going to pat myself on the back here and say that I predicted this 2 years ago. Yep. Thanks.
I'm patting you on the back.
I'm not really I'm hitting your front. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
you stay away from my back.
Just poke me in the
I
eye.
can't get you behind. Oops, sorry. That was
Well,
too
I mean,
low.
it made sense to me at the time. You have this drastic world event, and all the flying, a lot of the flying disappears overnight, so you don't need all the staff, but then you also still have people moving towards retirement. At the same time, you aren't training as many people. You've got the 1,500-hour rule. Come out of that event on the other side of it, in this case, the pandemic, and everything's going gangbusters in terms of amount of flying and flying needed, and yeah, you're going to be in a shortage situation in a hurry for pilots.
Yep.
Yeah, great things.
All right, there's a good comment from Neil Landworm. Well, what happened to it?
I was just trying to get. What am I doing here? I'm sorry. I'm screwing things up.
So Dana flies around with a photo of the 88. Isn't that a bit like carrying a photo of your ex-girlfriend? No wonder it gets him with the trim wheel. Oh, yeah, that's right. Never thought about the feelings of that airplane, Dana.
Yeah, you didn't consider.
Well, it's kind of funny.
The 7.3's got hurt feelings.
It does.
Can I have a moment of reprise with this? That actually hits a nerve. It's a good nerve and a bad nerve. And I'll say, when I was after the 88, I flew my last flight on the airplane, and I didn't even know it was my last flight. And I was sitting there, fast forward about 8 months, and I was deadheading on the 717. And I was sitting there in the back, in the back of the airplane. I think it was an emergency exit on. I'm looking around. It looks just like an 88 inside, and I just started crying. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I sitting there crying? Well, I finally came to realization as to what had happened, and that
You were sitting on the seatbelt.
They poured hot coffee in my lap. Darn it.
I'm sorry. You were in the middle
we've ruined
of a
this
very
emotional moment.
Well, but it's exactly to that point that Neil just made, and that is, I realized it's kind of like that high school girlfriend that breaks up with you, and you no longer can see her or be around her or be involved in its life. It was just taken away from me. And that's really where it kind of hit me when I was sitting in that seat. And I kind of at that point said, well, I don't have that girlfriend anymore. She's gone. There's nothing I can do about it. Might as well move on. And that was kind of like a eureka moment for me in kind of saying my goodbyes that I never had a chance to say to the 88. So that's kind of right on the head, Neil, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And that high school girl's name? Carrie. Anyway, you have to be old enough to understand the reference to that movie. All right.
I do, actually.
I got the Mr. Ed references earlier, but that one...
But not Carrie? The movie? The horror movie?
I'm familiar with the movie. I never watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just quickly get caught up with me. Been flying. Flew a 4-day trip this week. It was not the best trip in the world. Kind of long days on the second and third day, and the first and fourth days were nice and short. So, but makes me appreciate the better trips when I have them. But let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, the advanced entitlement that Dana was referring to earlier. A little story about that. Don't want to go into too much detail because don't want to drag you through the weeds. But
Oh, come on, we want to
somebody
hear
in-
about it, Jeff. Come on, come
and
on.
somebody in my seniority range, which is, I'm in my twilight years, I guess, for my airline career, just under two years to go. Sunset years. Thank you, Liz. The opportunity sometimes presents itself with, and by the way, my seniority number system wide is less than 500 out of what do we have now? Almost 13,000 now. Dana,
I think it's over
Something
well
like
over
that.
13,000.
Yeah. So basically, my seniority would allow me to fly captain on any airplane that we fly at Acme. But I choose to fly really the smallest airplane in our fleet because, I like flying the kind of trips that I'm flying, short little hops here and there, and staying within the same time zone or maybe within one time zone change. And I like it. And for an older person, it kind of suits me. And I truly believe that the long haul stuff really is best suited for younger pilots, in my opinion. But anyway, sometimes people in my predicament, in my seniority range, will kind of try to fiddle around with the system and game the system. There we go. Thank you, Liz. And what I mean by that is that some pilots in my seniority range have been kind of discussing this strategy, which is to bid an airplane like the Airbus A350. But when we put our choice for that airplane in, we tick the checkbox that says request a training bypass. And what that means is that if they awarded me the A350 and also awarded me with the training bypass, it means that I would get paid just as if I were flying the A350, because in the U.S., the way we get paid is our hourly rates are based upon the airplane size of the airplane. So the A350 is at the top of the stack. And so it would mean that it would allow me to continue to fly the 717. I wouldn't have to go to school, but I would get paid as if I were flying the A350.
That sounds like a good deal.
It gives me a lot of advantage as far as my seniority and picking up overtime flying and everything else. It just gets better and better. The downside, the risk, of course, is that if you request that and they say, yeah, we'll give you the A350, but we're not going to give you a training bypass, then congratulations, Jeff, you get to go to Airbus A350 school.
Gotcha.
And then you get to fly the A350 and those trips that you really don't want to fly. And then, so that's the risk and the gamble. And there was just something about it that just didn't feel right to me, and I decided not to pull that trigger. The number one guy on my fleet did put in for that, and as Dana mentioned, the results came out yesterday, and that person was awarded the A350.
Not the training bypass?
No training bypass.
Oh no. Oops.
So guess what? I am going to be the number one
We're number
717
one.
pilot.
Yay!
Hey.
Not that it makes any difference, really. It practically speaking, I probably would fly the same trips I'm flying now, but it's just kind of fun. Yeah, I'm the number one 717 pilot. I'm so happy that I did not put in for it, Liz, because I don't know what it was. It was just something that didn't feel right, and I went with my gut. And sure enough, the poor guy, that's the number one guy. He's not very happy.
I imagine
he
not.
really
Maybe
thought
he'll
that,
really love the A350.
Yeah, you never know.
No.
You never. And he is 4 days older than me, Liz. So it turns out I always thought he was younger than me, and I thought his retirement date was after mine. So I thought that I would never get to the number one spot, but it turns out that
for 4 days.
For 4 days I would have been the number one guy. But now it looks like I'm going to have more time at number one, because as soon as he goes to training on that A350, he'll be out of my way. Now I won't have to worry about whether he's going to bid for one of the trips that I want to fly.
That's cool though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that something told me, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah.
I think we both had the same person on our shoulders saying, don't do it, because it's I think your time will be the next one. I think you'll get the bypass. Fortunately.
Yeah. I think, there's probably a much better chance of it next time around. So we will see. We will see. Okay. Let's talk about the cover art from the last episode. And that episode title was The Tracks of My Gears. Of course, a takeoff on The Tracks of My Tears. And the tracks in this case are a 33 and a third long playing LP album from the vinyl record days that some of you may be even the cool young kids probably know about the vinyl these days. It's kind of a cool thing now, but there's a picture of a 33 and a third long playing album, and has a wonderful little label, the Bast APG Choir. The label, of course, of the record company is His Captain's Voice. Just like the little RCA dog in front of the little, what is that thing called? The record player there, Victrola or something like that. Anyway, but instead of the dog, it's me. So apparently Captain Nick thinks that I'm the same as a dog, which I guess is kind of not a bad thing.
He's always so flattering with his compliments.
He
that
is
he
very
pays to us,
flattering.
directly or indirectly. Yeah.
Did you notice it was also not
starring
Stephanie Plummer?
I noticed that. Thanks.
Yeah, I love the label, and a lot of great songs on here. Slip Sliding Away. Oh, by the way, this is in reference to the Airbus A321 that kind of slid off the side of the runway in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. And, of course, Slip Sliding Away, Crash, Boom, Bang is the second track. The third track is Till the Wheels Fall Off. And for, let's see, Skid Dat De Dat. Is that the way you'd say that? Skid Dat De Dat?
Sure.
And then 5, Spare Tire. So, and then Liz was saying, so what Captain Nick likes to do with the artwork, I don't know if
he
all
does
of
this
you are,
just
are
for
aware
Liz,
of it.
I think.
I think it's mostly for Liz, yes,
Yeah.
Steph. He'll try to put the episode number somewhere on the cover art, and sometimes it's quite obvious, other times not so much. And in this case, he tried to throw everybody off because on the upper left side he has APG 610, and I'm thinking it was not APG 610, it was 509, and people were pulling their hair out trying to figure out where he hid the episode number, and you have to have almost like a microscope to actually find it. But if you look at a little thumb fingerprint mark on the right side of the Acme Airlines wings, kind of looks like just a smudge, but you have to really, really, really zoom in, and you have to put your glasses on if you wear them, and then you'll see a very, very faint APG 509 there. Yeah, it's almost impossible to see it.
I see it.
But yeah, it's one of his best. So check out the cover art, APG 509. And Captain Nick, we miss you. I wish you were here to kind of take the accolades for this wonderful piece of artwork, but he always does a great job with that.
Hopefully your house hasn't blown away.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad day.
That would be bad. I know, it's quite windy there from what I heard. His power's out.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike is saying I should start making PAs when I become the #1 captain. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Delta Flight 510.
Acme.
Oh, I'm sorry, Acme. Yeah, Mike, you should know better. I'm Captain Jeff Nielsen, the #1 pilot for Acme's 717s. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be. That's not my style.
Well, iHall Boxes thought you should at least get your introduction for the show. The #1 pilot at a major U.S. airline.
It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. Anywho, that's going to do it.
I think that's pretty amazing if you ask me.
Well, okay.
It is.
What else?
He's too humble.
He really is. He's the #1 717 captain at Acme. There's nobody senior to him that flies that airplane. That's amazing.
There's nobody older than you.
Thank you, Steph. Bringing me back down. Yeah, I do appreciate that. That's why I don't do that kind of stuff, Dana. It's because of people like Steph. Just going to rub my nose in it. Make it a negative thing. Yeah, burst my bubble. All right.
My dogs are excited for you, though. That's
thank
barking
you.
about in the background.
Yeah, they're very happy for me.
Very excited.
Thank you, Taco. Thank you, Truman. What I was going to say something else. I'm going to be next week, another 3-day trip with Brent Heron, one of my favorite first officers now on the airplane. And we are going to be in Dayton and what? Oh, okay. I will not say a thing about that, Liz. Don't worry. Dayton, Ohio, and I'm glad that you said that, though, because I may have spilled those beans. Dayton, Ohio, and Wichita. And I'm meeting up with Paul Verhagen in Dayton. He's driving up from Cincinnati, so if anybody's in the Dayton area and you want to get together with us on a kind of mid to late afternoon, it's a date. No, not a dating app like Tinder. No, nothing like it at all. It's Dayton, Ohio. Liz is getting all excited for me. Anyway, so there you have it. And now it's time for us to talk about coffee, and specifically the Coffee Fund. And now I guess Dana is going to sing the Coffee Fund. Come on.
I love tea.
I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the driver and me. A cup.
I still remember this, believe it or not.
Awesome.
The latency wasn't bad at all.
No,
it's perfect.
That was terrible. Keep your day job, Colton.
It's, you know what? I'm leaving it in there just like that.
No,
it's priceless.
please.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about the Coffee Fund. A couple different ways to do that, and you can go to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee to find out how. The first is Dana's going to tell us about that apparently. Liz, come on, get it under control. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, what? I'll do it. There you go. That little thing in the upper left-hand corner is how you solo. Yeah. Well, I thought you've been doing that week after week after week. I guess somebody else has been doing it. Oh, okay.
It wasn't me.
Gosh, the darn Coffee Fund jingle is going to run out by the time I. Well, I'll move on here. So I think we have. If you'll show here, I'll put that in there. Oh, I just did that. Oh, I think we should just move on to feedback. Coffee Fund. We have Jenny in Rome contributing to the Coffee Fund Classic method. And just a quick mention, no new patrons via Patreon, but it was Zach Berger who started out as a producer, then moved himself up to executive producer. I'm getting dizzy. What are you doing, Liz? I think that if you're wondering what we're talking about and you're listening to the audio only, you really need to look at the video to see the craziness going on in our video right now. Okay, Liz is saying it wasn't her. It's not her fault. Anyway, Zach Berger is now, and what is it? What do we call that? Assistant senior executive producer or something. He's like almost the top tier. Thank you very much, Zach, for changing the tier and becoming a $10 or more per episode patron of the show. We really appreciate that. So, and anything at all that you contribute to the show is much appreciated, folks. And so, again, if you want to learn more about the what do we call that again? The Coffee Fund. Head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did. I will too, and I'll be glad to finish up with this Coffee Fund segment on this show.
Captain, incoming message.
You know, the bottom line is
just send your cash.
There you go. Do I need a break? Do any or all and all of you need to take a break?
I took a
for
break.
A few minutes. Did you? Okay.
Can I go shake the dew off my dilly, please?
You may. Yes, sir. I'm going to do the same thing.
All right.
So Steph is going to stay here and talk about dew on your.
To be using similes and metaphors such as that. I think Liz should join me for conversation. Oh, hold on. I can't hear you. Are you
Just a
muted?
minute. Here
There
I
you
come.
are.
There
Oh,
we go.
good. Okay.
Sorry, the lighting's not good.
That's
here. There
no,
we
you're
go.
good. How are you doing, Liz?
I'm good, thanks, Steph.
Good,
Sick of winter. We had more snow again overnight, and
I saw that. It's
I'm
so
ready for
it's so odd this time of year for if we're down here, and usually we're starting to get a lot warmer days. Sometimes not. Sometimes it still snows here this time of year. But man, you sent that picture, and I looked out the window, and it was 60 Fahrenheit and sunny, and I was like, "Yep,
Yeah.
yeah."
It's been a long. It started out very mild here, and then boy, it's been a long, cold, very
winter.
cold, very snowy winter. So
Mhm.
I'm ready. I'm just ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for summer at this point. I had my week of skiing, and I'm good to go.
Yep. You had your fill of winter out west there, even though it wasn't optimal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was still cold. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely below 0
Look at-
Celsius
look at
most
David.
mornings.
Oh, I love the
Of
grinning
course he
face.
has those kinds of masks.
Of course he does.
So,
Okay.
all right. Good
Back
chatting to you,
the
Liz.
show. Bye,
Bye.
Steffi. See you soon.
Yep. Why does it always pick that layout? There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the default.
I'm not sure what to say about that.
What can you say, really, Steph?
I don't know, but occasionally, like, patients of mine will wear masks like that into to their exams, and it's just super distracting. I don't know why.
Stop it, Dana. Stop it.
That's all right. I did the same thing to Dr. Elner this morning. He just can't stop laughing.
Oh, you mean the real doctor?
The real
backstabber.
The real backstabber. Oh, we know you're a real backstabber too, Steph.
Yes.
That's clear on the show. I'm feeling that pain.
Boy. Just trying to live up to my billing.
Okay, Liz is like cracking the whip and telling me to get moving. Okay, let's see. Got to figure out where we are. Have to find the proper window. Okay. The first item in our feedback notebook is from Jonathan. Dear Captain Jeff crew, Dear Captain Jeff and crew, a pretty disturbing scene on an American Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. over the weekend. Obviously, we all know the plane door can't be opened in flight, and the flight deck door is pretty well secured too, but still a shocking scene when a passenger tries to use a piece of plastic cutlery as a shank. Anything you all would have done differently here? Perhaps the pilots could have been a little bit more insistent on getting down on the ground, or not worth causing a scene when the situation could ultimately be contained. Audio and story below. And this is from Jonathan in Minneapolis, who was born in KC. We should mention, Jeff, that Rick... Oh, that's right. Miami Rick was flying at the time, and he heard this on the radio when this happened.
Yep.
And let's see. So we're going to play a little bit of ATC audio from liveatc.net, and let's see how this sort of... I have to apologize right up front. I did try to clean up some of this audio. It's not good quality. And just also should mention that the audio that you hear on liveatc.net is not really official recorded audio from the FAA. These are volunteers that have scanners all across the country and near airports and that kind of thing that pick up these radio communications. Sometimes they're really good and crystal clear. Other times they're not so great.
And sometimes they combine multiple frequencies, so
Yeah.
you miss parts of what's being said, and that's why. And
Right.
I get this question a lot, but it does sound better when you're in the air on the radio listening. It's
Unless you're
much
in that
clearer.
airplane that you were in the other night.
We can hear fine. They just can't hear us.
They can't hear you. Okay.
That's fine.
So yeah, like the end from the pilots then is, well, anyway. So let's take a listen to this and see what we can come up with.
The airport off to our left there is Kansas City, correct? So what off to your left? Okay, we have a passenger that's being combative. We need them to look direct to Kansas City. American 1775, roger, stand by. American 1775, go ahead.
because it wasn't me.
Yeah, he's trying to get in. Yeah, he's trying to get into the cockpit for American 1775. American 1775, Roger, we're landing in now. And Center American 1775, it's a level 4. American 1775, Roger, the information is being relayed. Kansas City is west. Thank you. Okay, we got 4 passengers now trying to contain this gentleman, American 1775. American 1775, Roger, thanks. This way, vectors, that'd be great. 1775 flighting 330 vectors to Kansas City. 330 American 1775. Get lower, get down, that'd be great. American 1775, you can maintain 180, flight level 180. 180 American 1775. And American 1775. American 1775, you can maintain 16,000 Kansas City, altimeter 3036. At 16,000, we have 2 armed people on board that are securing him right now. American 1775, that's thanks. American 1775, you ready for a free exchange? Yeah, go ahead. Contact Kansas City approach 123.95, 2395. 2395, American 1775.
All right. Sorry again for that terrible audio. But a California man allegedly tried to force his way into the cockpit of an American Airlines plane and open an emergency hatch, cabin door, during a cross-country flight on Sunday afternoon, prompting airline staff and passengers to restrain him until the plane made an unscheduled landing at Kansas City International. Juan Roberto Rivas, 50, of California, is charged with 1 felony count of interference with a flight attendant. Prosecutors in the Western District of Missouri announced on Monday he was a passenger on American Airlines Flight 1775. According to an affidavit written by an FBI agent, passengers and flight staff told authorities of a harrowing scene on the airplane where Rivas allegedly said he wanted to bring down the plane. Several flight attendants reported to the FBI that Rivas had expressed paranoia about people following him and trying to harm his family during the flight. At one point, he requested to be moved to first class because he was afraid of another passenger, a flight attendant said, but was instead moved to another row. I'll try to remember that in the future when I want to.
Good tactic.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of this guy here. Can I go to first class? You got an empty seat up there, right?
Yeah.
That's how
a
that works.
paranoia upgrade.
Paranoia.
It's called, Liz says. Okay. Rivas had attempted to dial 911. That's probably not going to work very well in flight, but was then informed by airplane staff that calls could not be completed during flight. Your call is important to us, though. At one point during the flight, several passengers noticed Rivas had gone toward the front of the plane near the cockpit and a work area for the flight attendants. One thought he may have been intoxicated, though. Flight staff later reported that he had not been served any alcohol since the plane had taken off roughly 2.5 hours earlier. Rivas allegedly grabbed plastic silverware from one of the service carts and began holding the utensil like a shank. Then he grabbed a small bottle of champagne, a little mini bottle, and attempted to break it on the. I guess it was like a half size.
Like the little, yeah.
Yeah. not one of those little tiny ones.
Not the tiny ones, but
not
how many milliliters are those? Are like 500 milliliters or
that would be a 350, 375, I think.
375,
half of a 750. Yeah.
Okay.
A regular bottle 750,
sure.
so it'd be like 375. Attempted to break it on a counter, according to the complaint. He then started to kick and push the service cart into flight attendants. During the scuffle, he allegedly tried to open the door to the cockpit. And he said he was yelling, "We're going to bring down the plane." He also attempted to pull. Huh? Oh, what did I say? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. For some reason, he said, "We are going to bring down the plane" instead of "I am going to bring down the plane." It was his friend, Liz.
He just thought everyone was with him. You know?
He thought he was leading the charge.
Yeah.
He also attempted to pull open an emergency hatch. Again, I don't know what they're talking about there. Another flight attendant walked toward the front of the plane with a coffee pot and struck Rivas twice in the head.
Yes.
Sorry. Getting into it.
Yeah.
WTF. What's it called? The World Wrestling Foundation? WWF. What? WTF. Other passengers, including a Maryland cop who, it's something else now. Liz is correcting me.
WWE.
WWE. Okay. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't.
World Wrestling Entertainment, something like that.
Something like that.
Okay. Well, we're kind of getting off into the rabbit hole here.
These are important things, but continue.
Yeah. Okay, it's very important. Well, let's talk a little bit about that then. No, let's don't. Other passengers, including a Maryland cop, told investigators he punched Rivas in the face, joined in the struggle. He was then restrained with handcuffs, zip ties, and duct tape. The complaint says he was taken into FBI custody after the plane's unscheduled landing. Under the felony charge, Rivas faces a maximum sentence of 20 years imprisonment.
He just wanted a retirement plan.
Yeah.
He was looking for
fun
his
times.
his all-inclusive stay.
Yes, all inclusive, all everything's paid for.
Yeah, that's true. Hall Boxes is saying caffeine can trigger a headache. Very clever.
I don't know. Did you catch it, Jeff, when they said the level threat in the audio?
I did.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's something you don't hear very often. We have
No,
threat
you
levels
don't.
that we are trained in, and we can't really talk about it because it's actually confidential
Yes.
information. But the air traffic control needed to know what threat level they were in, and I won't say exactly what 4 is, but it's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's need no information only.
yeah. But they did. I thought they did a really good job of getting the airplane turned toward Kansas City, get that thing on the ground before this guy caused any more issues. I thought it was interesting that air traffic control initially cleared them direct to Kansas City International. I'm thinking, what are the chances they have that in the box yet? Like 0.
Heading
And then finally
240
said,
direct.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
It took him a while, but he finally said, "Can we get a vector, please?" Yeah. And then they give him a vector over that way. But otherwise, I thought that everybody did a really nice job of handling the situation, especially the. I don't know if you heard it; it was hard to hear, but there were 2 armed passengers aboard the flight that helped take care of the situation as well.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. And I'm sorry I haven't.
I'm sorry.
Always
As a comment from
Threat level 5 requires the use of 2 coffee pots.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
So, Neil, come on, you're giving this stuff away. We're going to get in trouble. We can't talk about that anymore. Okay? Stop it. Go ahead, Dana.
I was just going to say, it just seems as though, on most of my flights where I have the most problems, and I've had some problems, I've had to have several people arrested, believe it or not. It seems to be California.
Those darn Californians.
I'm telling you what, whenever
we know a few of them, and they're definitely trouble.
I just
Captain Jeff.
Yeah. But I got
Los
out of there early
Alamitos.
enough. Yeah. 13
Represent.
years old. I was
Oh, one's a Californian, always a Californian.
Yeah. Hey,
It's
shut
in your
up. I'm
blood.
going to bash this beer can in your face if you don't shut up.
I got my own.
People are after me. You're all after me. Threat level 5. Threat level 10.
DEFCON 10. Here we go.
Threat level 150. I don't know what that is, but it's serious.
You people disgust me. Okay.
Have you, and honest question, Jeff, have you seen any, because this is, it might be on the longer transcons, and I'm seeing it, but on the shorter flights, you guys having a lot of problems with people wearing masks and flight attendants having to call up? Yeah, see, now, I think that's more specific to the longer flights.
And Californians.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Dana. The longer that you have to wear it for, more. Well, so if you're on a longer flight, more opportunities to consume food, beverage, and at some point you get fatigue about it. And even those of us who are super compliant, if you start doing something else, you get distracted, and you're like, oh, I should put this back on because I'm required
Not to mention,
Well, and also
California crackpots versus coffee pots.
Yeah. That might be the show title right there.
It might
That's
be.
not bad. I did like Paranoia Upgrade, though. But.
Paranoia Upgrade, yes.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So it seems as though on the longer flights, people react to the way that they're talked to, I think. And I think people are really tired of being told to put their masks on. Right. So, and then you get the mass police, and one of the PAs, and you may have talked about this a long time ago, that I can't stand is that it is a federal mandate. It is not a federal law. And when flight attendants make that, then you know that they're going to be back there, like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good name. Like big guy. It's just going to be the enforcer on the airplane. And flight attendants tend to, overstep their bounds in the way that they present themselves. I'm not saying they're overstepping their bounds, what they're doing for their job, but if they're rough, I guess is the best way of saying it. Maybe that passenger is reacting to the way they're being talked to.
Right.
But then again,
triggered.
Yeah, they're getting triggered. So people are already on edge, and then all it takes is a trigger, and that's why incidents in the sky are so high. And it is a violation of federal law not to listen to crew member instruction.
That's true.
That's where the issue is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So behave, people, even you Californians, especially you Californians.
They don't want me coming out.
None of us do.
No.
All right, with your baseball bat.
Still have a baseball bat. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I still brief. I brief like that. So if you're gonna kill me, I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay. Let's do one more piece of feedback before we do our plane tale. This is from Nigel, and he says, "Hi, Captain Jiff and crew. I kind of wish that Rick were here because I don't think that he said this, but let's read it anyway."
Should we save it for Rick? Or no? What do you think, Liz?
Yeah, let's do that.
I feel like he needs a chance to have a rebuttal
because I think
for what
Rick
he was
needs
saying.
a chance to rebut the accusation here. So yeah, let's save that. Okay, thank you, Liz. I think we'll just go right in. No, I'm going to jump to the plane tail right now, and then we'll get the rest of the feedback. Yeah, I'll just let me know when you're ready. I know that's all right. We'll cut all this stuff out. Not a problem. It gives me a chance to find the... Well, I'm not. I thought I was, but it was not the right one. Okay. Here we go. All right, now it's time for the best part of the show, which, of course, it's the old pilot's plane tale. And this week, the episode title... wow. I'm not sure I can pronounce this, but I'll try. Friedrich Karl von Koenig Warthausen and the Crazy Baron.
I think he did that on purpose.
Oh, that was the first time I tried it. Oh, I see what you're saying.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales. Friedrich Karl von Koenig Warthausen and the Crazy Baron.
Fritz as Friedrich Karl Richard Paul August Freiherr König von und zu Warthausen.
Was probably known to his friends, climbed out of his little aircraft and stretched his legs. It had been a long flight, but he had at last reached his destination, Bushire, on the eastern side of the Persian Gulf. Across the rough dirt of the airfield where he landed, he could see a big monoplane glinting in the sun. It was a grand sight to find another German aircraft there, a Junkers W-33 with its distinctive corrugated metal skin and stylish enclosed cockpit, a far cry from his own flimsy machine. The German pilots greeted each other and marveled how, in 1928, they should have met in such a remote place, some 3,300 miles, 5,300 kilometers from the fatherland. It's doubtful that the Junkers pilot knew much about the young 22-year-old airman with his flimsy little aircraft, but the gaunt and weathered Baron was well known to von Koenig Warthausen. This was the Crazy Baron, as the Americans had dubbed him, more formally known as
Ehrenfried Günther Freiherr von Hünefeld.
Von Hunefeld's life hadn't been easy, but he'd certainly lived it to the full. He grew up in East Prussia, and his childhood had been marked by several serious illnesses, which left him blind in his left eye and nearsighted in his right, a condition which he corrected with a monocle. After studying philosophy and literature at Berlin University, he tried to join the German Air Service as a volunteer to fly and fight in the First World War, but he was rejected because of his poor health. That didn't stop him, however. He was accepted as a motorcyclist, and he served at the front until he was badly wounded in both legs. After several operations, he was left with one leg shorter than the other, and was unable to remain in military service. He became a diplomat, and then served as a spokesman for the Neue Deutsche Lloyd Shipping Company. Von Hunefeld never lost his interest in aviation, and he was inspired by a generation of groundbreaking pilots such as Alcock and Brown, who completed the first non-stop transatlantic flight, Byrd and Bennett, who had flown over the North Pole, and Charles Lindbergh, who had crossed the Atlantic solo. The mighty first flights were fast being conquered, so Hunefeld set his sights on one of the few remaining. Crossing the Atlantic west to east had been the chosen direction, because of the prevailing winds that would aid flights in that way. As yet, nobody had succeeded in flying a crossing against the wind from east to west, even though it had been nearly a decade since the first successful crossing in the favoured direction. In 1927, Hunefeld bought 2 Junkers W-33s from the Junkers Company in Dessau and named them after Norddeutsche Lloyd's 2 flagships, the SS Bremen and the SS Europa. His ambitious flight was being supported by 2 key personnel: Hermann Kohl, a World War I pilot and now head of the night flying department of Deutsche Lufthansa, and Hugo Junkers himself, the chief designer and owner of Junkers Aircraft Works. The W-33 was a fine aircraft for the time. Made from duraluminium, it was a low-winged cantilever monoplane, something of a departure from the contemporary biplanes being produced in the UK and the US. Early ones had an open cockpit, but Hunefeld's featured a comfortable enclosed space for the pilots. Powered by a single Junkers L5 6-cylinder water-cooled inline piston engine producing 306 horsepower, it could cruise along at over 90 miles an hour, and modified versions would set many records, such as an endurance flight of over 52 hours and a height record of nearly 42,000 feet. With the renowned aviator Hermann Kohl, the Barons set off for Baldonnel in Ireland in 1928. There they met James Fitzmaurice of the Irish Air Corps, who was to become their 3rd crew member, and whose aid would be invaluable. Although aviation met forecasting was in its infancy, it had grown considerably in the 9 years since Alcock and Brown made their first flight. The British Met Office now received twice daily observations from 75 North American stations, plus a dozen or so from ships making the Atlantic crossing. They were able to provide the pilots with winds at the surface and 2,000 feet, general weather, low cloud details, visibility, and sea state. Having arrived in Ireland in March, the Bremen barely turned a wheel for a couple of weeks, while storms and heavy rain beat down on its metal wings, and even when the rain eased, the sodden airfield took a while to dry out. The weather on the other side was being fairly dramatic as well. Whilst New York was suffering a minor heat wave of 27 degrees centigrade, which is 80 Fahrenheit, there were heavy snowstorms over the central states. Fitzmaurice was keeping in close touch with a Captain Entwistle, a Met officer at the Air Ministry, and eventually it was decided that conditions were suitable for the attempted flight. The fuel tanks were topped off and the wings coated in paraffin wax in an attempt to stop ice forming on them. A 6 p.m. start was delayed so that they could receive a final evening forecast from London. It showed a mid-Atlantic wind of 10 miles an hour from the surface to 5,000 feet in a south and east direction, but the further west he went, the wind shifted to west and west-northwest, 30 to 35 miles an hour at 2,000 feet. Von Hunefeld and his crew discussed their options. The shorter Great Circle route to St. John's in Newfoundland had better weather, but it was 300 miles north of the main shipping lines, which was the safer option should they come down in the ocean. However, that route was influenced by depression that would result in stronger headwinds and poor weather. After a final conference at midnight, the decision was made. They would take the northerly route. Fitzmaurice grabbed a few hours' sleep and awoke early to prepare the Bremen. At 5:31 in the morning, the sun rose, and with von Hunefeld and Cole at the controls, they started up the big L5 engine and pointed the Bremen down the grass strip. The sky was clear and the wind calm as they took off. An hour and a half later, they were reported over Galway and then over the Sline Head lighthouse at 500 feet. Pretty soon they encountered overcast skies and drizzle, so descended down to 50 feet over the waves. But clear of that and in freshening winds, they climbed up to 3,000. At the 3-hour mark and every 3 hours after that, they made a drift check. They dropped a pair of smoke bombs at a timed interval and then turned back to take readings as they passed over them, checking the wind direction and their ground speed. At 27 degrees west, they made a position check and descended back to 50 feet to avoid the freshening winds. As darkness approached, they estimated that they had reached 42 west and were encountering increasingly strong headwinds. That wasn't their only problem, however, as their path was blocked by a towering wall of black cloud reaching up to at least 20,000 feet. Worried about ice, they descended to 50 feet, but the mountainous waves threatened to pluck them from the sky, so they climbed up to 6,000 feet. The Junkers was rocked and buffeted by the storm, and they flew on in pitch blackness for hour after hour. Relying completely on their primitive instruments, they were forced to fly on by torchlight when the cockpit lights failed. Ice was rapidly forming on the airframe, so they gingerly descended into warmer air, and then they thought they had an oil leak. Fitzmaurice clambered around the airframe but couldn't find the source of the oil loss. Fearing an engine failure, they turned to try and find land as soon as possible and continued on in a desperate struggle with the storm and the blackness. After enduring 5 or 6 hours of this torment, they suddenly found themselves in clear air. 2 more hours of westerly flight and they spotted white patches below them which they assumed were patches of fog, but after dropping a white signal flare, they discovered a snow-covered hill. Uncertain of where they had arrived, when the sun came up, they discovered a large error in their compass of nearly 40 degrees. They fought their way through a heavy blizzard until they found a lighthouse, and with their fuel reserves down to 2 hours, they put down on a nearby frozen lake and promptly broke through the ice, damaging the Bremen and making further flight that day impossible. The lighthouse keeper of Greenlee Isle took them in, and for the first time in 36 hours, they were able to rest. Receptions were held and the trio fated across Canada and the US, and the press dubbed him as the Crazy Baron. They were given a ticker-tape parade in New York and became the very first non-Americans ever to be awarded the U.S. Army Air Corps Distinguished Flying Cross. After returning to Germany, von Hunefeld nearly lost his life to appendicitis, but barely recovered. He made plans to fly his other Junkers, Europa, around the world. The Swedish pilot, Carl Gunnar Lindner, joined him, and their flight goes well, which is how, on September the 21st, 1928, on the distant Iranian airfield of Bushehr, they encountered the young aristocrat, Friedrich Karl Richard Paul August Freiherr König von und zu Worthausen. The eldest son of Friedrich Karl Wilhelm Freiherr König von und zu Worthausen, like his idol von Hunefeld, Fritz grew up in the family castle, Schloss Worthausen, with all the privileges of an aristocrat, great wealth, fine schooling, and the freedom to pursue his dreams. He studied law and economics at universities in Munich, Königsberg, Berlin, and England, whilst enjoying his hobbies, one of which was flying. His parents bought him his own aircraft, a Clem L-20B, which I should point out was no big Yonkers, capable of transcontinental flight. The Clem was a small two-seat wood and fabric monoplane that weighed a mere 600 pounds, only 270 kilograms, which would today class it as a light sports aircraft, microlight or ultralight. It landed at 20 miles an hour, and despite only having an air-cooled Daimler-Benz flat twin producing barely 20 horsepower, it cruised at a reasonable 65 miles an hour. Fritz was a natural pilot, though, and it only took him 12 hours of instruction to qualify for his license. The year all this was going on, President Hindenburg of Germany donated a cup to recognize the achievements in powered flight, imaginatively called the Hindenburg Cup. When young Fritz heard about it, he was determined to become the first recipient and the first to win the 10,000 mark prize money that went along with it. By the time he set off, he'd only acquired 5 hours of flight in his little aircraft, which he had named Kamerad, which translates to comrade or companion in English. The only modification he made to his Clem was to increase the size of the fuel tank fourfold. He decided that a 1,000-mile flight from Berlin to Moscow would put him in the running for the Cup. So at 11 p.m. on August the 9th, 1928, he took off from Berlin's Tempelhof Airport into the darkness in an aircraft with only a rev counter, vertical speed indicator, and a magnetic compass to navigate by, with maps torn from his school atlas. The long flight had been fraught with danger, particularly when fatigue started to overcome him. He would fly with the aircraft trim nose down, so that if he fell asleep, the aircraft would start to descend and the rise in engine noise would wake him. On occasions, he would find himself having to descend through cloud, which he did, using the light from the moon or the sun to keep himself upright. 16 hours later, with rain whipping his face so that he could hardly see, the weather forced him to land, only 30 miles from his destination. But he knew that if he flew too long in the rain, the fabric of the Clem L-20 would become waterlogged and lose tension. After a rest, when the weather cleared, the next morning he continued on to Moscow's Kadinka aerodrome, where he landed safely. It seemed that he might not have done enough to win the Hindenburg Cup, so, following the advice of Russia's Minister of War, General Semyon Budyonny, he continued his flight through Bakou, Pashlevi, and Tehran. En route, his little aircraft was attacked by eagles, who seemed intent on bringing him down, but he managed to dive away before one hit the propeller and wrecked it. In Tehran, he was the guest of honor at a banquet. He flew on through Qom, Isfahan, and towards Shiraz, when a forced landing on a mountain precipice stranded him for a week. It took him this time to fix the problem and then, with the help of local tribesmen, to build a runway to take off from. Eventually he reached Bushehr and met his hero, Hunefeld. Here he is informed that he has indeed won the Hindenburg Cup. Friedrich was inspired by the Baron and would eventually rename his little aircraft Hunefeld in his honor. The crazy Baron would continue east in a bid to complete his round-the-world flight, but his attempt would end in Tokyo when his poor health overcame him. He returned to Berlin and died of stomach cancer early the following year. For the young Friedrich, his fabulous journey was far from done. He carried on through Karachi to Calcutta, where he met Mahatma Gandhi, and in Agra he took time to view the magnificent Taj Mahal. He went on hunting trips and travels by mule into Tibet and Nepal. On his way to Bangkok, he was nearly brought down by a huge tropical thunderstorm and was delayed by the monsoons, but he met a wife of the King of Siam and was given a companion to help guide him, her rare Siamese cat. Tanim, as the kitten was named, accompanied him for the rest of his amazing journey. He flew over Penang to Singapore, when he detoured to cross the equator before taking a ship to Shanghai and then back into the air to Nanking. Kobe in Japan was the next stop, and then on to Tokyo before sailing to San Francisco in the United States. His adventures would continue as he flew from coast to coast, meeting celebrities and dignitaries, surviving a serious car crash and suffering the occasional flying accident as well. By the time he reached Roosevelt Field, the airfield used by Charles Lindbergh to start his crossing of the Atlantic, it was November 1930 and time to head back to Germany. He dismantled his trusty aircraft and boarded an ocean liner to sail back to Europe. He had set off 15 months earlier and covered 20,000 miles, 32,000 kilometers, in 450 hours of flying. Although his journey couldn't be recorded as a solo round-the-world flight, it was still a remarkable achievement for the young pilot. On his arrival in Berlin, he was enthusiastically received, and finally, a year late, President von Hindenburg would personally present him with the cup he so richly deserved.
Yeah, but really, I need to turn my camera on. Really, though, did he really do anything?
Yeah, a few things here and there, maybe.
Is it not amazing back in that era, the truly amazing things that these pilots did?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't understand.
Oh, that's what I usually do.
Yeah. I know. Captain Jeff went with there. No.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
We can
you.
hear you.
We just can't see you.
I'm sitting
You
here.
look a little. You should turn the lights on there, Dana. It's a little dark in that room.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
It shows,
Looks like you might have to maybe remove yourself from StreamYard and then
rejoin.
re-enter. Yeah, rejoin.
Because I think it's your camera is frozen because our little. Oh, there you are.
There we go. That's your
your
laptop.
You're still frozen though. Oh, there you are.
There we go.
Yeah, all
We're
I
good.
did is reselect it. So good.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Amen. Crisis averted.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean,
Yes.
you think back to the things people did in aviation back when aviation was in its infancy, and man, that takes a lot of guts and bravery, and then yeah, and infancy is probably the wrong word here because it wasn't that far in its infancy, but quite that era.
That airplane they were talking about, that lightweight one with the two-place 20 horsepower engine that would propel at 65 knots. I'm thinking, dang, that's pretty good
for 20 horsepower.
20 horsepower.
That's all in bud, actually.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty amazing.
For those
But
times.
and then flying, making that attempt, and I guess successful, right? To make it from east to west in the Junkers, and just flying in that weather for like 5 or 6 hours in pitch black. I just can't imagine.
I think
flying in
Ihal
those
Boxes
kind of
put it best. He said, back in those days, the aircraft were still made out of wood, the men out of steel.
Yeah.
That's
No doubt.
Absolutely.
very, very well said.
Very awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine us doing it these days. It's just like, this just sounds like too uncomfortable. I mean, when am I going to
Not doing
sleep?
that. Where do I plug my phone in?
Yeah.
Where's my
Can I get
iPad?
internet on this aircraft? Hey, I paid for the internet and it's not working. Can I get a refund? How am I supposed to get my work done?
I don't fit in this cockpit. How in the world does this work out?
Oh, those magnificent men and their flying machines. Yes, sir, Micah. You got it. Okay. I think that even I was going to say, even though Liz is not here, she'd probably be snapping the whip, but guess what? Or cracking the whip. She's back, and she's yelling at me. Okay.
No, we're just having
no, she's
appropriate
not
commentary on the excellent, as always, Plain Tales.
To be fair, she was not yelling at me. She was just informing me
Chastising.
that we need to get going here. Let's see. Sean, item 5. A friendly reminder, just a friendly reminder to pilots. The FAA ain't down with the CBD, and this is from the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, AOPA. CBD can be risky for pilots. It's in more products than you think. So how would you pronounce that
Cannabidiol.
stuff?
Cannabidiol. Cannabidiol.
Oh, shoot. I thought you'd know for sure.
It's potato.
Cannabidiol?
No.
Cannabidiol?
Cannabidiol.
I don't know. So let's
It's
just
definitely
say
dial
CBD.
at the end. Yeah, CBD.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay. Products have been increasingly popular in media, but for pilots, the risks these products pose far outweigh their possible benefits. CBD is the second most prevalent active ingredient in cannabis, marijuana. Derived from the hemp plant, CBD has been touted for its wellness benefits without the psychoactive response of THC, the main active ingredient in cannabis.
That one is tetrahydrocannabinol.
Well, I didn't ask you on that one.
I just wanted to make sure we've got the scientific basis.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Liz says, Steph knows how to pronounce the one that makes you high.
Of course she does.
Okay.
I do have some serious things to say about this after you finish this article, so I'll let you
Okay.
continue and then I will.
What? Okay.
What?
CBD production is currently unregulated, and its use in food products is not approved by the FDA. That said, CBD can be found in many personal hygiene, wellness, and consumable products around the country. At this time, the FDA has only approved one CBD product, a prescription drug used to treat seizures associated with 2 forms of epilepsy.
And
CBD
very
is
rare forms of epilepsy at that. It's not like
really?
just, it's
Not
a
very
very specific diagnosis. Yeah.
Okay. CBD is considered a non-psychoactive compound, but can legally have trace amounts of THC, up to 0.3%. That's not enough to cause a psychoactive response, but it's enough to show up on drug tests, which can't currently differentiate between THC and CBD. Regardless of state laws, THC is still a Schedule 1 illicit substance in the eye of the federal government, and with that, the FAA has a zero-tolerance policy. And because drug tests can't tell the difference between THC and CBD, now, Steph might disagree with that. Pilots who are suspected of using THC...
Well, their wording is poor on that.
Okay.
We'll come back to that in a second, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me get the to the
meat.
I'll try to
I think we
skip
kind of
up
said
this.
the.
Yeah, basically,
actually, we've said the important things here. And this is how I counsel my patients, because CBD has shown up in everything across the board. So, and it's commonly touted as it's in products claiming to be pain relievers. Some of the science suggests that yes, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that yes, it may help with painful conditions. But here's the bottom line, and this is why I do not ever recommend these products for patients. In the vast majority of even just, hey, it's over the counter, you can get it, sure, fine, go ahead. What's the harm?
What's the harm?
Here's why. If you have a job that has a zero tolerance policy for THC, or if you are a federal employee, or if you do anything that is where you have a certificate that's issued by a federal agency, such as the FAA, they have a zero tolerance policy. And if you're tested for these substances and you're like, well, I was only using CBD, yes, that trace amount of THC can show up. And that can have very serious legal ramifications for you. You might lose your job, you might lose your certificates. So it's and this article is absolutely correct. It is not something that's regulated. So up to 3% or 0.3% is legal, but it's not regulated. So how do you know how much you're really getting? No one's actually, I don't know that any of these manufacturers have a good process for really teasing out how much THC might be there present with the CBD. Most of them probably have little to none of the THC, but you can't guarantee that. You have no way of knowing. And it's in a lot of things. So you have to be careful. It's I've seen it in beers. I've seen it in
Really?
CBD.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, be careful. This is your public service announcement for the day. It's in beers. It's in all kinds of creams, lotions, consumable.
Is it like in that one that
products.
Sweetwater does that?
That aviation beer? No, I'm just kidding.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
The one that talks about, it's like, it's something, they talk about hemp and other things.
So you have to be careful. So look at the labeling very carefully. And if you're not sure, ask. And if they don't know, maybe pick a different beer.
Would it be on the label?
Sometimes it is. I've seen it on the label. Sometimes it's advertised as such.
Yeah. Like a feature?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's, to me, it's the potential benefits of it, whatever you think you're getting out of the CBD, probably doesn't outweigh the serious negative consequences that if you ingest a small amount of THC and it shows up on a drug test, and it will have consequences that are negative for your job, or especially if you're a federal employment or involved in anything FAA related for pilot, it's really just not worth it. Steer clear of it. The evidence isn't that great that it makes that big of a difference for whatever you're trying to treat with the CBD, in my opinion.
It's all marketing play.
Yeah. Now, if you're retired, you never plan to fly an airplane, you just want to sit out on your back porch and, enjoy the sunset in the evening and all of that, that's probably a different story. But if you're part of the workforce, if you're part of anything where you might be drug tested at some point for whatever reason, I would steer clear of this stuff. I was going to make another point about this too, and I can't. Oh, so the wording that they said where the drug test can't differentiate between THC and CBD, the drug test is testing for THC, but because it contains up to 0.3% of the THC, that's why it's coming back positive when you think you're only taking CBD. So it's not really that it's not differentiating between the two, as far as I understand. And iHall boxes is absolutely correct. Those products can show up for quite a long time. They have very long half-lives in your body. They take a long time to be metabolized and fully eliminated from your body once you ingest it. So, if you use a product that contains THC, within a couple days, a couple weeks, sometimes even a month or two, it may come back as positive on your test. So be careful with this stuff. It's not worth it.
Yeah, the beer that I was thinking of from Sweetwater, well, it's not 420. It's actually strain 420 G13 or something like that. See if I can share this on the video here. Here we go. Share, and somebody can share that. Here we go. Okay. This year-round 420 strain G13 IPA. And I've had this before. Yeah, it doesn't say that it actually has CBD in it. It says that the hops that they've chosen mimic a
legendary cannabis strain.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. That is one that if I read that on the label before I consumed it, I would probably ask for something different just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't even cross my mind when actually I've had it before. It's been a while. But I swear, but I didn't really like it. I didn't think it was that good. But it wasn't until this news or feedback item that I thought, I didn't even realize that it could be in beer.
I'll readily admit that I can't wait until I either retire or go out on medical, because I want to try this out and see what everybody's raving about, because I've never
Yeah.
done it my entire life. I've never done it ever, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, everybody on my boat dock are always doing it.
They're aficionados.
They're aficionados, and they all look at me and say, "Oh, you can't have it." I say, "You're damn right. I am not going to have it unless I am not
It's
working
not worth the risk.
It's
for
not
a
worth
long
the risk.
period of time." I mean, when I say a long period of time, I'm out on medical with 6
Mhm.
months, 6 months off, or more than
Retire.
likely when I retire, that's what I'll probably wait for. But it's kind of funny. I went home this summer, and my brother became a doctor. In Massachusetts, you have to have your doctor of dispensary. I looked at my sister, what's this all about? It's just this thing is going absolutely crazy. But yeah, we have to be very, very careful.
Well, and you have to be careful too who's giving you the advice, because it is, in I think pretty much almost every state now, if not all, you can buy these products over the counter at the drugstore. But just be aware that they're not closely regulated. They're not regulated at all by the FDA. They can legally contain up to 0.3% of that THC, and that's enough to show up in a drug test. And who knows what that actual percentage actually is. So just be
there's
careful.
your 510 PSA from the APG. Lots of letters there. All right. Just don't do it. Just say no. All right. Carl says, hello. Not Icelandic, but traveled there. Oh, so on the last episode, we talked about this Cessna 172 crash in a lake that started with a weird letter. He said the P symbol in the name of the lake is the same letter at the beginning of the Norse god of thunder, Thor. The anglicized version is Thingvallavatn, I guess.
Oh, Thingvallavatn. I can't pronounce Icelandic words. Sure.
Yeah, what? Everybody can. The area around the lake is historically rich, was used extensively in the filming of Game of Thrones. The meeting place of two continental plates, the landscape is dramatic. Also, the original site of the world's oldest operating parliament. There are a ton of historical sites and buildings in the area. The lake must have amazing views from above. So no surprise, it was a scenic trip in a 172. Shame it was a tragic story, but the area is well worth a visit if you make it to Iceland.
I can agree with that. It is beautiful.
Have you done it?
I have. Well, I've been there. I didn't
everything.
see it from the air, but we were there on the ground, and it's beautiful for sure.
Nice.
Wait a minute. Dr. Seth, she's been everywhere. Don't worry. Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
There's a few places I haven't been. Actually, a lot of places I haven't been.
What? Really?
No way.
Come on.
All of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Antarctica.
You remember that show, Where in the World is Carmen San Diego? I'm just going to go ahead and rename it. Where in the World is Dr. Steph?
There used to be a Where in the World is Captain Jeff segment.
I was going to say, let's see if I can find the...
Oh, man, that hasn't been played for a long time.
Where in the world is
Dr. Steph?
Yes.
Now, for sure, I'm going to get a violation from YouTube. But that's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
It's not like you haven't been violated before, Jeff.
Oh, no, that's true. So true. It's been a while, but yeah. Okay. Let's see. What was I trying to do here before I was so distracted?
Maybe feedback number 7?
Yeah, well, I have to get a video file ready here. So here, let me do that. Boom. And there it is. Okay. So I'm going to start reading this. This is from Tim from Down Under. He says, "G'day, APG crew from Down Under. Although not as down under as the F-35 fighter in this video." Ooh, bad joke. Yeah. Here's some incredible footage of a fighter crashing into and then off an aircraft carrier late in January. Amazing that the pilot was able to survive this. Watch for the ejection as the jet is about halfway along the deck. And this is from theaviationist.com. And this video is actually a video of a video being played on some monitors. And the video here is called a PLAT video or camera, Pilot's Landing Aid Television Camera. I guess they use this for reviewing, approaches to the traps on the aircraft carrier. And it says it was video footage from the USS Carl Vinson's PLAT camera was leaked online, showing what happened to the F-35C's strike fighter of Strike Fighter Squadron VFA 147 that crashed on January 24th, 2022, and sunk in the South China Sea. In the days after the crash, a photo of the F-35 floating in the sea was leaked online, immediately followed by a video shot from the fantail showing the last seconds before touchdown. The U.S. Navy confirmed a few days later the authenticity of both the photo and the video. Let's see. We can see the Lightning II coming in, and with a rapidly increasing sink rate just before the touchdown. I'm starting to make the sounds.
It's contagious.
As well. Sorry.
It's contagious.
Yeah. Which prompted the landing signal officer, the LSO, or paddles, to start screaming on the radio, "Power," and then wave off, to instruct the pilot to abort the landing and go around immediately. The next chilling moments, which according to the cameras happened at 16:30, show what seems to be a ramp strike or a very short and heavy landing. The quality of the video as it was recorded from a computer screen and the fact that it was recorded with some parallax do not give a very clear view. Either way, the aircraft hit very hard on the ship, with the impact shredding out the main landing gear and causing the F-35 to bounce on the deck and hitting it nose first before starting to skid sideways while engulfed in flames. As the aircraft carrier's crew calls for the fire emergency, the video switches to another camera, which shows the aftermath of the crash. The second camera's footage begins as the LSO calls the pilot for more power on the final approach before issuing the desperate wave-off. Camera shows that the pilot bailed out as the aircraft went completely sideways in the middle of the deck and already engulfed in flames. The F-35 then proceeded out of control and fell straight into the sea, while some burning pieces flew towards other aircraft parked on the deck, with the emergency crew quickly intervening to put the fires out. Anyway, so let's look at the video, shall we? It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, I watched this the other day.
Boom. Okay, that was from the fantail. Now this is the other video.
I agree. If we're going down this road again, it better be a bullet.
615 tower.
Still, she couldn't be a bullet.
We got emergency aircraft. Left of us.
Who's the one that's yelling fire, fire, fire?
Now, I would like to critique the people taping or
covertly
videoing this. I would recommend that you turn off the TV in the background that has some soap opera or something going on, some Netflix show.
And maybe don't talk over it, too.
Yeah, and don't
you want
talk.
your voices on the...
So we can hear what's on the video. Okay, that's just a production, tip.
Note, yeah.
Yeah. Glenn has a good update. 4 sailors have been charged with leaking that video. Yeah. Well, the U.S. military doesn't really take kindly to unauthorized leaks such as that. I remember once I took an unauthorized leak, but that has nothing to do with...
They didn't take very kindly to it either?
No, they did not take kindly. No video exists of that.
That's because shaking them up twice is playing with a jet.
Is it though?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know. I disagree. Anyway, yeah. So, what else do we want to say about that? Not that, but the F-35.
About the F-35C.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder what would cause an airplane that's landing on a carrier to clearly be that much out of control.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just a bad approach and maybe the
late application of power behind the curve.
And maybe a late warning from the LSO.
Yeah, perhaps.
Not recognizing what was unfolding. I don't know. It's very demanding,
I can't even imagine, to be honest.
Okay, Liz is making the point that it's an 11,000 feet of water, and the big thing on the story is that we need to get it up from the bottom before the Chinese.
The Chinese get to it.
do.
Yeah, that's been the headlines, right? So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's move on. Getting close to the end of the show. Let's hear from our good friend, JJ Pittsburgh, and he sent us some audio feedback. So let's take a listen.
Greetings, APG crew. It is JJ Pittsburgh. It's been a little while. But anyway, I'm driving home after a long night, pretty eventful night. But anyway, I love listening, as you know, to the APG when I'm driving. And I was just thinking, like, when Captain Jeff retires and when Nick's already retired, you should have a second career as a voiceover artist, both of you guys. Amazing voices, you'd be great for audiobooks. And when Nick does the Plain Tales, I mean, that's essentially an audiobook type of thing, telling stories. So yeah, to the point where your voices are so soothing, that's actually a problem when I drive. Because there are some times I'm listening to the APG and I want to like pass out because it's just so soothing. It's I don't know how to explain that, but anyway, I had to mention that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that maybe as a spin-off show someday, or a one-off type of show, you could have like a quiz show type of thing where the super fans, so to speak, of the APG, people that you hear a lot of times on here, like Main Man Micah, people like that, and actually have a quiz about aviation topics. I don't know, like how it would go, like specific details of certain parts of planes, that kind of thing. I don't know how it would work, but it would be interesting to see who would have the best knowledge of planes, and because we're fans of aviation, but I know I wouldn't put myself in that game because I'd get smoked by like someone like Micah. But anyway, that was a suggestion. Could have a spin-off show someday, or maybe not. But anyway, I'm rambling a bit. So at this point, you guys have probably fallen asleep. So thanks again for entertaining my crap, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Oh, well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were we still,
doing
the show?
I'm not. I'm eating.
Hey, JJ, it's not the first time that we've been told, especially my voice, puts people to sleep. And
if you really want some a good cure for your insomnia, some classic APG shows where it's just Captain Jeff. The quality, the content quality is fantastic, but the voice quality is just so soothing and relaxing. It will put you right.
The content is questionable, but
you should hear him. You should hear him talking in the cockpit. You want to try to stay awake. I mean, trying to talk to him in the cockpit, it's like, I'm sorry, Captain Jeff.
Wake up! I'm constantly having to shake awake my co-pilots. Yeah. And as far as the idea for a quiz show, that sounds like way too much work.
That sounds like PTUK and Pilot Pip. So
yes.
They do some of that stuff.
Yeah, go over to their shows, and they do it already. And yeah, but I mean, it's a good idea, but that just sounds like work to me. And you know me, I try to get out of as much work as possible. So, okay. All right, Liz, she's telling me maybe one or two more items and we'll wrap this up. I would like to do, I guess it's the next one from Andrew. Hi crew, in APG 507 you were talking about gates being occupied and having to wait for a gate. I used to work the desk at a major hub city for an airline that rhymes with American Hairlines.
I've never heard of that airline
Let me
before.
think of-
I haven't either.
what could that-
American Airlines.
What could rhymes with that? I don't know.
Might that be in San
Nothing.
Juan?
San Juan? Yeah. Definitely something that starts with a J in Spanish.
Okay. We had a time of day that almost every flight was early and had to wait 10 to 30 minutes. One day the jet stream was reversed, blowing from east to west. Every flight from the East Coast was landing 1 to 1.5 hours early, and in some cases before the flight scheduled for its gate before it landed. It caused major issues after the ramp controller cleared one into the gate, and then the flight scheduled before it landed from the West Coast. The next day I noticed the same thing happening. Flights were tracking 1 hour early. I called every dispatcher and told them to see if all the flights could slow down at some point. They were still holding on the ground for a while, but it wasn't bad. Hope this insight helps. We tried to make the holding for the gate as short as possible, but sometimes it just didn't work out. And again, that was from Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, it just sometimes happens that way, and that's why we actively, Dana can verify this, look at when we think we're going to be landing and, arriving for the gate at our destination. And if it looks like we're going to be really early and we can't confirm that the gate's going to be open, we'll take measures to slow the flight down along with air traffic control approval, and try to loiter as much as we can before we put it on the ground. Because Dana, we were talking about the fact that psychologically, when you get to a gate or you land and you have to wait for a gate for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it's just psychologically the passengers are going, let me out of here. And they get frustrated because they can see the gates and they want to get off the airplane. And, I really don't blame them.
And there's a couple tools that we use, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I thought he was waiting for me to answer what those tools are. I'm sorry, you kind of froze there, Dana.
Yeah, I've noticed you froze several times today.
I think that I think it's Dana's connection,
yours.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm hardwired to
Well, I think it might be Julie watching her porn, maybe. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Julie,
tell her to knock it off.
You're interfering with my podcast.
There's always a
what's
reason.
all that noise I hear down there now? We have a target.
We have a couple tools. Whoa, that's bad choice of words. In the cock. Let's see. How do we recover from this? Tools to help us. Oh no, Liz, you're not helping. You're not helping at all.
What?
You're making
you have
it worse.
Equipment. You have.
I bet you do.
You have.
Uh-oh. We're digressing quick.
Sorry. Yeah. What were we talking about?
HR. Where's HR?
Yeah.
We have ways to figure out whether we're going to be early or late, and we have ways to adjust the cost index, which is another thing that we're going to cover on today's show, but we're going to wait until Rick gets back with us so he can defend himself. But yeah, needless to say, there are some ways to help us, to arrive close to our scheduled arrival time, so we don't have any issues with holding on the ground.
And of course,
let's finish off. What
when that happens always though, it's always the last freedom link into the hub.
Yep.
Always.
Yep. All right, we're gonna end this with number 11
because the show has gone to the dogs.
It has really, literally, because that's what we're going to end with. From Laura Davis, she says, "I'm wondering if Steph could train Taco or Truman to skydive.
Ha!
Is it a bird? A plane? No, it's a paragliding dog." And this is from BBC.com. Now, again, you're going to have to bear with me because I have to do something to share my screen, and so we can watch this very cool video. And here we go, Chrome tab, and it is where? Here it is. Okay, share and play. Oh, can you see that yet?
Nope.
Okay, put it. Do you see it? The video thumbnail. Okay, now I'm going to hit play.
The first first video we did, I think it's like maybe 150 million views. For I think most of people around the planet, like it's something completely amazing, and they never saw that before.
Okay, we're watching a guy paragliding with his dog.
So the first thing I noticed is Uka was not afraid of heights. For example, when we go hiking, he was standing super on the edge of the cliff. I started to play with my own glider to teach him that it's okay, it's not scary, and he was super fine with it. He was playing with me, around me, with the glider. After that, we checked if he was okay to wear a special harness for flying. So I teach him to come between my legs on a command. So I said, décollage, it's take off in French, and he comes between my legs. And then we run together. I just say run, and we take off with this.
And then I let go of my legs and he fell, and now.
Oh. Yeah, we get like many people saying like I'm abusing Uka because he cannot agree to fly. But actually, when Uka doesn't like something, you immediately know. He can show it to you even if he's not speaking.
The RSPCA.
Before I got Uka, I was not in my
Would not
best
recommend
period
this,
of
even if they
life.
seem to like it.
Disclaimer.
I was not working so much because of the COVID. I was living like some personal issues in my life. And yeah, I was like quite in a big depression actually. Uka was not very lucky also in his life. He has been abandoned 2 times. The second owner of Uka, actually they got a small garden, but I think they were not taking him outside so much. When they gave him back, he was full of parasites, he was full of fleas, and he got like the fur was very dirty, he was really in a bad shape. Since I have Uka, we are living outside in the nature every day. I think I gave Uka the life he was meant to have. He pushes me to wake up in the morning and to find motivation to do stuff. So I think I need to tell him like a big thank you for that, Uka.
I don't know. I think that's super
Yeah.
cool. The
That
dog
is
does seem
amazing.
to be enjoying it. He's just, checking things out. They're flying around.
Yeah.
It's
Love
a
it.
bird. It's a plane.
Beautiful
it's a super
dog.
Uka.
Yeah, Uka.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's a great way to end the show, I think.
Yeah.
Amazing.
On a high, that's for sure. And so we do have several more pieces of feedback that we didn't get to in today's show, but don't let that discourage you from sending in feedback, because Liz always loves just lots and lots of feedback in that feedback backlog. And so if we haven't gotten to yours yet, rest assured, I'm sure we will in a future show. And again, you can send us feedback by heading over to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com, or actually you don't head over there, you address your email to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com. I know that I've responded to several people in the past, and it ends up responding with my own personal email address, but I do recommend that you make sure that you're sending it to feedback@airlinepilotguy.com so that people will see it other than me, because I'm not always the most reliable person when it comes to making sure. Hey,
And by
Liz,
people, you mean Liz.
yeah, she goes, really? Feedback@airlinepilotguy.com. And we have a website, airlinepilotguy.com, where you can find out information about the crew and the community, APG on YouTube. We have the Plain Tales page, the APG library. I think it's today. Today is her birthday.
It is
isn't
her birthday.
Tiffany's
Happy birthday, Tiffany.
Hey, happy birthday,
APG
Tiffany.
librarian.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Tiffany.
We hope that she has a great, or has had a great day. I'm sure she has. And let's see, what else? We have Coffee Fund, the APG store. You can contact us. We have our individual emails listed there, and we have the APG community calendar there as well. So check it out. And we're also on social media, and Steph's going to tell us all about the social medias.
We are on social media. We'll start with Facebook. That's facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. If you're on that platform, we welcome your contributions and community interaction there. Of course, we're on Twitter. We're APG Crew on Twitter, and you can find our individual Twitter handles pinned to the top of that page as well. And Instagram, I still haven't shared any of Nick's artwork there, but I mean, you get it here too, so you'll see it one way or another.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll stop being a slacker, but is Hillel in like 2 places at one time today somehow?
I think that we had somebody
we've had it patched.
Patched in. There's a hidden microphone in the shower over there in Israel, and so let me see if we get. Hello. Do Slack.
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Oh, that's okay. And I don't know why I keep calling you hello, but Hillel, come over here and sit down. And oh shoot, I told you to dry off a little bit more. This is sensitive equipment. Okay, go ahead and tell him about Slack. Oh, wait a minute. How can that happen? He's over in Israel. I didn't play this right, did I?
No,
okay.
I was confused. I thought maybe he came through the patch somehow. You want to start that over?
Well,
do that again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, wait. I think we're getting the audio from the hidden microphone in Israel. Hello, Slack.
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's okay. You're way away from me, and it's not going to get on me, so that's okay. So let's hear what you have to say about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and Plain Tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
All right, Hillel, thank you very much for taking your time out from your business
What kind
trip.
of place is this? Where are we? How does this thing work?
Apparently he's having a little issue with how things work over in Israel. You're in Israel.
I mean, I'm sure it looks a little different, but it kind of functions the same on a basic level.
I think so. It can't be that much different, right? Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully he'll find his way. And we do thank him for taking the time out to help us with that. And we also want to take the time to thank our wonderful producer-director, Liz Piper in Toronto. Thank you, Liz.
Thanks, guys.
Couldn't do the show without you. Which is, I don't know if you want to take credit or blame.
I'll take all the credit.
Dana, thanks for joining us again. It was nice to get caught up with you. And how can people contact you and all that?
Well, people can never contact me again. No, I'm only kidding.
Okay.
You can reach out to me at, I'll make it easy. dlpropilot@gmail.com. So D as in Dana, L as in Larry, PROPILOT@gmail.com. And I want to take this opportunity. Thank you for having me back as a guest. And amazing time today. Liz, I mean, I haven't been here in a while, and I got to tell you, I can see a huge difference in how the show flows. So, Liz, you're doing a fantastic job. And thank you. I just
she does.
Everybody in the community, great to see everybody again. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from me. And I will be next month. If anybody wants to see me in Boston, reach out to me on my email because I'll be there 6 overnights.
Oh, wow.
And I've got 1 Cincinnati and actually 3 Cincinnati and 3 Portland, Oregons.
And by the way, the DL in dlpropilot.com stands for down low. Down low pro pilot. The down low. So,
there you go.
All right. Well, thanks, Dana. And without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up and say thank you and wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care and God bless.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Great seeing everyone.
Beautiful.
Very impressive.
What, has he been here the whole time?
Is he lurking? Is he lurking?
Yeah.
He is lurking. I see.
Yeah. Stalker.
Miss you.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, we do. We all missed you, Mick. What's his name?
Mick.
Look, Lick.
He's been away too long.
Rick.
No, that's
Dick.
that other guy who's not.
Dick. We missed you. All right.
My wife gave
turn
me an
off.
awesome dinner. I've been sharing it
Ooh.
with you over here.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Carne
I didn't
asada
notice.
and broccolini.
I don't want to hear it.
I
Too late. I just heard it.
not sure what I'm going to eat.
Okay, turn off. If you have a recorder running, go ahead and turn it off.
Stop.
And
Lots of blank stares there.
yeah. And let's see. Let's get over here to the wonderful live audience. And great to see everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. We always enjoy it when you're there to provide us with all kinds of witty comments.
Dale,
although we didn't
go to
see
bed.
any.
It is 3 o'clock in
this
the morning
time.
there.
I miss all these guys.
Yeah, A.L. Shea. A.L. Shea.
He's going to
Check
see
your bathroom before
Hillel
going
on
to bed.
Sunday, I think.
Oh, is
Yep.
he? Oh, that's
they're
nice.
going to
That's
get
awesome.
together, I believe.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, sir. Get to bed. It's way too late. I think that
3
Hillel's
a.m.
probably already
apparently.
gone. Yeah. All right. And, well, we have people from all over the globe. We have New Zealand and Israel and
Evan was here from
Australia.
Melbourne.
Oh, I didn't see Evan. Okay.
Yep,
Briefly.
He was here briefly.
Yeah.
Still have
Cool.
a lot of the Europe crowd. A couple anyway.
Okay.
Friday
Neil.
night.
You guys are troopers.
Neil is saying that Crackpots versus Coffee Pots is his vote for the show
Yeah,
title.
we got that
does.
one.
I like
one.
flying dogs.
We got
Flying
California
dogs.
crackpots versus coffee pots.
I don't.
We got-
Do we really need to say California? Liz?
Yes.
Come
I
on.
don't know.
That's
It's-
very
have-
I
we have
mean,
the-
just put it over. Paranoia upgrade.
Paranoia
upgrade.
Yeah.
That was a good one too.
The
And there was
coffee pot
one or-
defense.
There was one or two at the beginning, but we've kind
Well,
kind
there
of-
was one, but we've sort of deferred that. We were going to do something with the deli belly, but we've kind of deferred
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We've moved on. Oh, wait, yeah,
we've moved on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let
didn't
Nick
like
talk
it
about
because
that
it was
one.
my
I
idea.
I like the paranoia upgrade myself, but I'm not sure how
Yeah, I
to
do like that,
illustrate
too.
that, though.
Well, we can
Yeah.
present all three to Nick, and he can
We will.
run with
We
it.
will.
He could do some kind of like a ticket
It's dangerous
or boarding
giving
pass.
him executive decision making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You never know
Just
what's
give
going
him
to
options.
happen.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Never know where he's going to take it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that should be enough ammunition for him, I think.
I would think so.
I took it downstairs.
Yeah. Okay. And say hi to Julie for us. And
Hi,
thank her
Julie.
for,
They all say hello. We're not recording anymore.
all right. Well, it's time
She
for
laughed at you,
us-
actually.
Well, it's not
We
unusual.
expect nothing less from
Wo-
us.
women do that all the time, Dana.
That's true.
Sadly. All right. With that, let's leave.
Let's wrap this
Yeah.
thing
Everybody,
up.
Let's go.
have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Adios.
You won't see me next week.